Good morning, sir, everyone, and good morning, sir, to you. Good
morning,
sir.
students.
Good morning,
All
dear
of you,
students.
very good morning to you. Good
Yes,
morning,
good
Nisha
morning,
madam.
students. And very welcome to you all on the third session of this integrated business solution. And today we are the mentors for the session, and we shall be discussing again on one more case study that is pertaining to your curriculum, pertaining to your syllabus, pertaining to your subject, which are falling under the final level, and of course the set A and set B. The approach to read and solve it is in line with the requirement of the case study according to the related consent under the different concept as well as the subject we shall be discussing in today's IBS. So through this platform, we shall be trying our best to make you understand the requisite concepts which are required to go with the provided information within the case study. And we shall be telling you how you will drive the relevant informations from within the provided case studies. There are many informations given under the case studies, and which are the relevant informations that you need to solve the questions. We will help you to just drive what are the relevant informations and how you can make out that these informations are relevant from the topics or the subjects that you are reading or that will be forming the part of the curriculum to solve the questions given within the IBS. Yes, sir.
Yes, students who have joined is Mujib, good morning, and Shalesh, then Kirti, good morning, all of you. Yes, students, this paper, IBS paper 6, today we will be taking up case study number 10. This case study has been web hosted. And students, the papers which are covered in the study material are FR, then law and income tax and small part of GST. Students, this case study is about a commerce MBA graduate. She is from IIM's Bangalore.
Sure.
Let me read out the case study. Can you share the case study?
Yes, sir. There is screen visible?
Yes, it is visible. Yes, students, Sahana is MBA graduate from IIM Bangalore. Sahana along with her father, she incorporated a company called Sa Fashions Limited. And she opened a chain of ready-made garment stores to support its family business of cotton and yarn mills. She was able to manage the accounting and taxation because she was well qualified. Considering the business is being expanded, she was now thinking of hiring professional consultants, because business was growing, including taxation, accounting professionals. She reached out to her old friend, who is Madan. He is a practicing chartered accountant dealing in CA related matters. Madan set up his own proprietary firm, and he has been practicing in audit and taxation areas since last 10 years. Sana, when she contacted Madan, he was very much glad to support her, and they met over a cup of coffee, and then they discussed about the details about the engagement. Now, students, this is the introduction part of the case study, and moving further, these discussions are taking place between Sahana and Madan, who is a practicing chartered accountant. They met up at a coffee shop to discuss the details of the engagement. During the conversation, Madan tells her that times have changed now, and so have the ways of presenting accounts of any business as per the financial reporting framework. He explains how the preparation of financial statements is now regularized in such a manner where all the financial statements shall have a consistency, uniformity across the industry. With few exceptions, for example, specially regulated financial statements. In addition, the users of these financial statements would also have an assurance of complying with basic framework. He also gives her an overview of latest changes which are there in income tax and GST, and which would also be impacting her business. And after a detailed discussion, he asked Sahana to brief him about her business and the issues she is facing. Now, issue number one, students. The meeting gets more formal as Sahana calls Murari is now the accountant working in her company to the meeting. Now, Sahana explains the following open issues to Madan. This is issue number one, students. This is regarding that Murari, when he was asked about to calculate the depreciation on plant and machinery, so he although he calculated the depreciation, but she is not satisfied that depreciation is calculated, whether the depreciation is calculated appropriately. Now, WDV of the plant and machinery is given. New plant and machinery was purchased, put to use on 8th June and then 15th December. These are asterisk mark करके students लिखा है. It is written that these are qualifying for additional depreciation. Students यहाँ पे please understand this. This is requirement as per income tax law. Additional depreciation, because depreciation, calculation of depreciation is not as per company law or as per Ind AS. This is not Ind AS 16 will be applicable over here, because here clearly it is written that additional depreciation and the concept of additional depreciation, all of you are aware, is only in income tax law. So might be possibly this question would relate to, this issue will relate to, and the question which will appear would be definitely involving income tax law. So as per Murari's workings, total maximum depreciation on machinery at the rate of 15%. This is the depreciation he has computed. Yes, you can move Nisha ahead. Issue 2. Issue 2 is concerning on 1st April 22, Sa Fashions Limited acquired business acquisition. 100% of Spun Limited. यहाँ पे students, whenever there is acquisition, so immediately idea which strikes in our mind as a CA student. So idea is Ind AS 103 business combination. Idea immediately strikes in our mind. So Sa Fashion Limited acquired 100% for rupees 5 lakhs, which was into cotton spinning business. Now Spun Limited is another company which is being acquired. The fair value of net identifiable assets of Spun Limited was 4.5 lakhs and its goodwill was 0.5 lakhs. On 31st March 24, students, what happened? Government changed its policy on textile sector, having adverse impact on the business of the companies like Spun Limited. From this para, students, Ind AS 103 seems to be there. Yes, students. So, as you are reading the case study, तो आपके माइंड में स्टूडेंट्स एग्जाम में भी ऐसे ही होगा, आपके different thoughts will come to your mind and you see how beautifully the Ind AS 103 now will change to another Ind AS. If you read out the next para, internal discussion on government policies indicate that revenue is estimated to fall by 20% in coming 3 to 5. Now the focus has shifted from Saha Fashions Limited to Spun Limited. The adverse effect on the marketplace and strict regulatory conditions indicate impairment. Now, whenever impairment is there, immediately it comes to our mind. India's 36 comes to our mind. So India's 36 students क्या है? India's 36 is on impairment of assets. As a result, Spun Limited has to estimate the recoverable amount of goodwill and net assets on 31st March 24. Saha Fashion Limited uses straight line of depreciation. Ab straight line of depreciation in India's, this is not income tax, this is India's. The useful life of Spun Limited assets is estimated useful life is 15 years with no residual value. Further, no independent cash inflows can be identified to any individual assets. So the entire operation of Spun Limited is to be treated as CGU, cash generating unit. And due to regulatory entangle, it is not possible to determine the selling price of Spun Limited as a CGU, its value in use. So data students, although initially when we were reading through paragraph 1 of issue 2, it seemed like that this question, this data may be related to Ind AS 103, but going further, reading out para 2 and para 3, students, it is very clear that question that will be asked would be in respect of Ind AS 36, that is impairment of assets. तो देखो कैसे, how beautifully the entire story has got changed from Ind AS 103 to Ind AS 36. So students, this is how the case studies are appearing, students. तो आपको ये यहाँ पे ये वाला दिमाग तो लगाना ही है. Yes, Namrata, good afternoon, good morning. In fact, Rishi, Kisan, you have rightly identified India's 36. Namrata, you have also rightly identified India's 36. Prasad, you are asking about only 3 classes. We will have more classes in February. The detailed schedule will be there on the website. Now, issue 3. Issue 3 is related to, देखो, Mr. Geet was appointed as new MD of MD. देखते ही स्टूडेंट्स मेरे दिमाग में तो लॉ शुरू हो जाता है आना. क्यों निशा मैडम?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
तो MD जब भी मैं स्टूडेंट्स आप MD देखते ही आपको लॉ की याद आ जानी चाहिए. MD ऑफ द कंपनी और अपॉइंटमेंट हो गई उधर से MD की. On 5th October 23, in place of Mr. Suresh, the company decided to pay remuneration. तो ये सारा डाटा जो है स्टूडेंट्स, whatever is written about, story is telling about, it is about law portion. The company decided to pay remuneration to Mr. Geet as per section 197 subsection 4 of the Companies Act. Now, Mr. Baman, one of the members of the company, wanted to inspect contract of service entered into by the company with Mr. Geet. Mr. Baman, one of the members of the company. Nisha madam, my question is, क्या ये ऐसी inspection possible है? Contract of service आके देख ले वो.
Yes, sir. Actually, whenever any appointment is done, there is being signed as a contract of service. If he's appointed as an employment, as a whole-time director, any person who's being appointed as MD or as an employer, as an employee, sorry, or as a whole-time director in a company, they are need to sign a contract of service. So this has been given under section 190 of the Companies Act 2013. And in contract of service, they need to give the details. They have to come out with the the contract of service either in a written form or either it may be not in a written form through the help of a memorandum over there. So these details are there and it has been provided to the members The members, if they want to inquire what are all the details given with respect to the contract of service of these peoples, whosoever is appointed in the board as an employee or as a whole-time director, then all the details will be given over there. And if any members is being required to visit these details, they can have this contract of service, the copies of these contract of service from the registered office. So this is all is given under section 190. So member can go and look into see what are the conditions given, what are the particulars given. Even their companies is being required to have the, the register of directors also. There also it contained the details, the particulars of the director, whosoever is appointed in the company. Plus, apart from that, they also have the details regarding the shareholding in the company. So that way, these are the compliance part. These are the, the transparency in the company is maintained. Ki what are the contract services, what are the terms is being there for their appointment, plus with respect to their shareholding on this company.
Okay, okay. Now issue 4 is, students, regarding company at the AGM held on 30th September appointed Ghana as non-ED on the board of the company for a period of 3 years. Now again, this is from AGM, it is very clear that this issue also pertains to law. On 2nd October, Ghana met with an accident and died on the spot. The board of directors on 16th October appointed Hero to fill the casual vacancy so created. Appointment of Hero was made for a term of 3 years by the board unconditionally. Now students, हम ये देखेंगे कि questions इनसे related क्या हैं, and then we will proceed accordingly. Now issue 5 is besides company related matters, Sana asked Madan to advise her in her individual tax matters too. She is planning to buy a residential flat for her own residence, which is priced at 48.50 lakhs. The person selling the flat, Rainbow, is a NRI as per the provisions of Income Tax Act, and he will be visiting India to execute the sale deed after the title gets transferred. Yes. Now the flat will be renovated. There are two things, students. एक तो flat खरीदा गया है, and then renovation is also involved. Madan was quite astonished when he got to know the renovation cost is more than the purchase price. Now this, and we will see what the question would be asked on this issue 5. Yes. Now moving to questions, students. First question: is the maximum depreciation allowable under the Income Tax Law Act 1961 calculated by Murari correct? Murari, अगर आप students, if you could remember, he was accountant of the company. If not, what is the maximum allowable depreciation as per the details given in the issue? Now, students, abhi this question basically, if you remember in the last lecture, this was discussed in detail by law faculty Dimple madam, and the question is quite simple. This question, MCQ 1, is quite simple, and it is on the same line, same pattern like Dimple madam had discussed. So I think you can orally come to the conclusion. You can orally come to the answer if you go to the facts of the case study given in para 1. Nisha madam, can you move to para 1?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Options में students, different options हैं. We will come to the options. First we will go to the facts of the question, and we will try to calculate the depreciation part. Now students, if you see, yes, WDV of plant and machinery this is opening WDV. This is opening WDV, and new plant and machinery purchased and put to use on 8th. This is new plant and machinery acquired and put to use. Computer acquired and installed on 2nd January. Now, on 30 lakhs of plant and machinery, depreciation rate is 15% as per total maximum depreciation on machinery at the rate of 15%. If I calculate on 30 lakhs 15% if I calculate, तो स्टूडेंट्स इट विल बिकम 4.5 lakhs. निशा मैडम यहाँ पे 4.5 lakhs लिखना. तो स्टूडेंट्स 4.5 lakhs तो आपका 30 lakhs का डेप्रिसिएशन आएगा. न्यू प्लांट एंड मशीनरी विच इज परचेज्ड एंड पुट टू यूज ऑन 8th June. ऑब्वियसली स्टूडेंट्स पुट टू यूज का कंसेप्ट आपको मालूम है स्टूडेंट्स, और लास्ट लेक्चर में डिटेल में स्टूडेंट्स वी हैड एक्सप्लेन दिस कंसेप्ट. डिंपल मैडम हैड एक्सप्लेन टू यू. और इफ इट इज मोर देन 180 days तो डेप्रिसिएशन आपको अगेन 15% मिलने वाला है. 20 lakhs इंटू 15% वुड बी 3 lakhs, तो इज इक्वल टू 3 lakhs हो गया. न्यू प्लांट एंड मशीनरी विच इज एक्वायर्ड एंड पुट टू यूज ऑन 15 December. दिस इज less than 180 days. This is less than 180 days, then you will get depreciation of at the half rate. 50% हो जाएगा आपका डेप्रिसिएशन, मीन 7.5% हो जाएगा. एंड 8 lakhs का अगर आप 7.5% करेंगे स्टूडेंट्स तो इट विल कम टू 60,000. तो 0.6 lakhs आएगा ईशा मैडम, ये 0.6 lakhs. तो 4.5 lakhs मेरा एक डेप्रिसिएशन हो गया, 3 lakhs एक हो गया स्टूडेंट्स, और 0.6 lakhs एक हो गया. Now computer acquired and installed on 2nd. This is also less than 180 days. और 3 lakhs पे स्टूडेंट्स अगेन मेरा 50% होगा. डेप्रिसिएशन रेट ऑन कंप्यूटर इज 40%, तो 20% मुझे इसका मिलेगा. 20% मीन्स इसका हो जाएगा आपका 60,000. तो इसका कंप्यूटर्स पे स्टूडेंट्स आपको 0.6 lakhs लिख देना निशा मैडम. 0.6 lakhs बिकॉज वी आर टेकिंग फिगर्स इन lakhs, तो 0.6 lakhs इसका हो जाएगा. नाउ जो स्टार लगा के स्टूडेंट्स लिखा गया है, क्वालिफाइड फॉर एडिशनल डेप्रिसिएशन. न्यू प्लांट एंड मशीनरी परचेज्ड एंड पुट टू यूज ऑन 8th June. दिस इज क्वालिफाइड फॉर एडिशनल डेप्रिसिएशन. क्वेश्चन में गिवन है स्टूडेंट्स. तो 20 लाख एडिशनल डेप्रिसिएशन का रेट आपको मालूम है स्टूडेंट 20% होता है. तो इस पे मुझे 20% डेप्रिसिएशन और मिल जाएगा. 4 lakhs इसमें और मुझे डेप्रिसिएशन मिल जाएगा. तो प्लस 4 lakhs इसमें और हो जाएगा आपका मशीनरी 2 जो है, न्यू प्लांट एंड मशीनरी परचेज्ड एंड पुट टू यूज, विच इज रिटन एट पॉइंट नंबर 2. यहां पे निशा मैडम 3
Yes,
lakhs
sir.
के आगे पॉइंट नंबर 2 में 3 lakhs में प्लस कर देना 4 lakhs और एडिशनल डेप्रिसिएशन जो नीचे लिख दे, नीचे लिख दो. यू कैन राइट बिलो इट, नहीं तो उसके आगे ही लिख दो प्लस. यहाँ पे ठीक लिख रहे थे आप, ठीक है. यहाँ पे एडिशनल ऊपर लिख देना एडिशनल डेप्रिसिएशन 4 lakhs.
Yes,
तो ये
sir.
स्टूडेंट्स एडिशनल डेप्रिसिएशन हो गया 4 lakhs. और न्यू प्लांट एंड मशीनरी एक्वायर्ड एंड पुट टू यूज ऑन 15 December. दिस इज अगेन लेस देन 180 days. तो डेप्रिसिएशन रेट विल बी, डेप्रिसिएशन आपको आधा मिलता है, मीन्स 20% इस पे मिलेगा. तो 8 लाख का सॉरी 10% आपको मिलेगा. 8 लाख का 10% हो जाएगा आपका 80,000. तो स्टूडेंट्स उसका प्लस आपको 80, यहां पे 0.6 lakhs प्लस 80,000 आपको मिलेगा. 0.6 lakhs प्लस 80,000. नो अगर हम स्टूडेंट्स इन सबका टोटल लगाएंगे तो 4.5 lakhs प्लस 3 lakhs हो गया 7.5 प्लस 4 11.5 प्लस ये आपका बन गया 1.4 और हो गया. 11.5 और 1.4 आपका बनेगा 12.9. 12.9 हो गया और कंप्यूटर्स का आपका 0.6 हो गया. तो स्टूडेंट्स ये अगर आप टोटल करेंगे तो 13.5 lakhs आ रहा है इन माय ओपिनियन. 13.5 lakhs टोटल डेप्रिसिएशन आपको अवेलेबल होना चाहिए. मीन्स अगर मशीनरी पे मैं देखूं तो मशीनरी भी आ रहा है आपका 12.9 lakhs अगर मशीनरी की बात करें. और ये कैलकुलेशन करके और कंप्यूटर का क्लियरली 0.6 लैक्स है। निशा मैडम इस पे आप मार्कर करना, एक बार अंडरलाइन करना है।
यस सर, किस चीज पे?
फोर्थ पॉइंट का जो डेप्रिसिएशन लिखा है हमने 0.6।
0.6 ना, ये वाला?
हाँ हाँ, ये वाला। तो 13.5 में से स्टूडेंट्स 0.6 माइनस करेंगे अगर आप, तो आपका आ जाएगा 12.9 लैक्स। तो 12.9 लैक्स स्टूडेंट्स मशीनरी का डेप्रिसिएशन है एंड 0.6 लैक्स आपका कंप्यूटर्स का। तो अब ऑप्शंस, लेट अस गो टू ऑप्शंस। नाउ मूविंग टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 1। No, the depreciation calculation is wrong and the correct maximum depreciation should be 14.3 lakhs. तो हमारा depreciation तो स्टूडेंट्स 13.5 lakhs आया है। बी, इसका मतलब ये इनकरेक्ट आंसर है। ए पे क्रॉस लगा देना मैडम। बी भी 14.9 lakhs कह रहा है तो वो भी इनकरेक्ट हो गया। सी, नो द डेप्रिसिएशन कैलकुलेशन इज रॉन्ग एंड द करेक्ट मैक्सिमम डेप्रिसिएशन अभी हमने निकाल के स्टूडेंट देखा है, वी हैव अराइव्ड एट द टोटल कैलकुलेशन पार्ट दैट इज 13.5 lakhs. C is the correct answer. So depreciation and D is obviously incorrect answer. So students, ये this question was basically dealt in last lecture in the with the case study which we dealt was case study number 15, I suppose. So this question was explained by Dimple Madam also in detail. Therefore, I have explained it in a bit hurry. And so moving to question number 2. Question number 2 is of India's, so I will explain it thoroughly. So we will be taking at the last question number 2 because it is India's 36 and a lot many concepts are there which are involved here. So I will explain in detail. Moving to question number 3, students.
Yes, sir. This question number 3, actually, basically, if you read the question, it's talking about Mr. Baman, who is a member to inspect the contract of service which has been entered by the company with Mr. Geet, who is the MD. Now you have to identify the incorrect statement. So my request is from all the students that read the question carefully, because if you see here, the question has been asked incorrect statement. Incorrect statement, not the correct statement out of the given statements. Okay. So when they're asking incorrect statements, that means you should have a thorough knowledge of the concept to which that particular issue pertains.
Yes, yes, yes. This is very important, Nisha madam. So
Yes,
ये
sir.
students, to all students, I am conveying that read the question very carefully because स्टूडेंट क्या है, व्हाट स्टूडेंट्स थिंक ओवर इट कि इसमें करेक्ट, कई बार स्टूडेंट देखता ही नहीं है कि, और यू ऑटोमेटिकली अज्यूम दैट yes, I need to identify which is correct option. So for example, if A is the correct option, then you immediately take the A answer in the examination. So don't do this blunder, this mistake. That's why we always tell you to carefully analyze all the options. If you will analyze all the options, then and you are making this mistake that this is I have to identify the correct answer, correct statement, then and also you are reading all the options carefully, then obviously if it is asked incorrect, then many answers will go correct. 3 answers will go correct. So this is how you will get the benefit of reading all the options. So students, this is very important. And my advice to all of you is you go to the question very carefully. Read the question very carefully, whether the question is asking about correct or incorrect. So this is very important. Go ahead, Nisha madam.
Yes, sir. So if you want to see what was the exact issue in the questions, so let us go to the issue number 3, which pertains to this particular matter. So because we have to drive what are all the relevant information is given within the case studies, then only we can drive exactly what is given and what is to be derived in line with the requirement of the question. So if you see here that already is things given over here that Mr. Geet is appointed as new MD of the company. This is very much clear to you. Though date is given, so always make it a point if some data, some date is given. So make it a point, some relevance may be possible within the question or within this case study. If dates or some kind of transaction dates or related to appointment date or retirement date, if some kind of the date is given in the case study, the definite there is a possibility of its relevance within the case study. So here is appointment date is given and Mr. Geet has been appointed in place of Mr. Suresh. This is all given about. Then what next you would be seeing over here, the relevant information. Now company decided to pay remuneration, right? And remuneration is given under section 197 in the Companies Act. So here what happened, one of the member, Mr. Baman is there. Now he wanted to inspect the contract of the service which has been entered with Mr. Geet for assigning him the office of the managing director. But whatever, he was denied to have this inspection on the ground that contract with Mr. Geet was not in writing. So what the important aspect is that he is not allowed to have an inspection. It was denied just on the basis that the contract with Mr. Geet was not in writing. So something which is given not to be done. So we have to just find out what the relevant provision deals with, what the relevant provisions talks about, whether this is possible within the provided information in line with the relevant legal provisions. What exactly the legal provisions lays down with respect to this part of the legal provisions. So if you see, the relevant legal provision pertaining to this given issue is section 190. Already I have told you earlier also that 190. Now what section 190 talks about? So if you see, this is section 190 of the Companies Act. Section 190 of the Companies Act, it talks about the contract of employment with MD or the director. Okay. So it says that every company, the first important requirement of the section is that every company shall keep at its registered office the contract of service, right? And it may be possible that such contract of service, this is contract of service, okay? So such contract of service can either be in writing, okay? Or it may also be possible that it is not in the written form. It is not in the writing form. Not in writing. Okay? Now the thing is that if it is in writing, suppose, then there such contract of service copy shall be, such contract of service copy shall be kept at the registered office. Okay? And if such contract of service is not in writing, then in such case, the written memorandum will be there, which will be setting out the terms of contract of service. So this shall be kept at the registered office. Please keep it that these all things should be kept at the registered office. So that if any member want to inspect any of these contract of service related documents, yes, it is open for inspection for the member. Inspection can be done by member. And that too, the requirement is without payment of fees. I suppose it is understood to you that without payment of the fees, a member can request for having this contract of service to have an inspection of that particular documentation. Okay. And in case of default, if suppose company does not provide or does not allow him to do the inspection or to have the inspection of these documents, then in such case, the company shall be held liable, as well as the officer who are there at that time. In default, they shall also be liable for the penalty to be levied with whatever is prescribed under the Companies Act. This is section 190. That means this with respect to availability of the contract of service documentation to the members for inspection. But yes, when we are talking about this question, we need also to read section 171. It may be possible that students may give answer on the basis of 190, but 190 only talks about the contract of service, what are the requirement. Because since this terminology is coming within the question, that is why student may also think of this question. But if you see, the question talks about the right of the members to inspection, which deals with section 171. It talks about right of members to have inspection. So you must be clear how the sections are interrelated. So you should not have not only have knowledge of that particular sections, but also if any section is related to that specific section, then you should also have the knowledge of that section also. So here section 190 as well as section 171 are interrelated. So you need to have the understanding of this section also. And here the question, if you see specifically, is pertaining to section 171. What section 171 talks about? Now section 177 or 171, it says about, yes, it talks about where there's a register of director. Already I have told, in case of register of directors, this is given under section 170. Again, there one more section. So you also need to have the knowledge of this section also, 170, which deals with the register of directors. So you can see how the sections are interrelated with each other. So here 170 section talking about the register of directors, and it says that register of director is open for inspection during the business hour. First of all, important requirement is inspection can be done during the business hour. After that, you can see the members have a right to take the extract. They can take the extract plus copies. Okay. So here register, this member can request to have the extract or copy of the register with the related information what is being required, that he can take it out, and that too provided to the members free of cost. Free of cost. It is also provided within how many days since from its application? It is being said that within 30 days. Even if anybody without requesting for this copies of or the extract of this register of directors, they can also inspect at every AGM also. At every AGM, they are made available for the inspection of the members. They can, during the AGM, they can see all the register of directors and the relevant information which they seek over there. And this is made accessible to any person who is attending the meeting. And in case of failure, again, the penalty is there. So you can see from these important explanation to the section 170, you can see that the member has got the right to inspect. This is right. Then it is being said, yes, they can get the extract and copies, and that too free of cost. And this register of director, if you section 170 or you see the section 190, it is said it is kept at every registered office of the company. So these are the three main important aspects, that it shall be kept at every registered office of company. Okay, this is registered office. I have written in short ROC. Don't get it interpreted wrongly. It is registered office of the company. Then second thing is that, yes, they can get the extract or the copies of all the relevant documentations, whether it may be contract of service or whether it may be related to any shareholding or any personal detail of the directors. Okay. And then without payment of any fees. So this could be done and made these copies available to him. Now let's see what the question says about. Yes, so you can see here, we have to identify the incorrect statement. Now the first statement that is given over here is that contract of service shall be kept at registered office of the company. This is the first statement. So already I have told you what is the mandatory requirement for this particular section with respect to inspection of this register of directors or related to contract of service. Yes, that first such contract of service shall be kept at the registered office of the company. So this statement seems to be correct. Now moving to the next statement. Yes, the member may inspect the contract of service only after the payment of prescribed fees. And already I said you in both the sections it has been clearly mentioned that without fees they can seek they require, they can have it on the request. They doesn't require to pay any fees. So this statement seems to be incorrect. Then moving to the third statement, a member can inspect the contract of service with MD or WT only if authorized by the article. So nowhere in the sections it has been said it can be exercised only when an article specifies about the same. Since nothing is there, so that is why we can see that this statement is also wrong. As of right, the members can request to have the inspection of the case of this contract of service or whether with respect to any information related to director under the register of directors. So accordingly, if you see only first statement is right, whereas in the question given statement second and third are incorrect. And as per the requirement of the question, we have to find out which is the incorrect statement. So accordingly, statement number second and third, this is the incorrect statement. And so accordingly here the correct answer will be option D. I suppose student this is very much clear to you. Yes, I could see a query that yes, Shankara is asking, ma'am, where shall the copies of this contract of service be kept, ma'am? Yes, it shall be kept at the registered office. The original is being submitted over there to the registrar. But however, the copies shall be kept at the registered office. So that way they can go to ask for the copies of such contract of services. And every detail shall be contained in the register of directors, whether it may be related to their any details, names, address, their all the relevant information, along with that their interest with respect to shareholding of the shares in the company that shall be given under the register of directors. So the copy shall be kept at the registered office for the inspection of the members. As well, if it is not written, then information memorandum setting out all those terms which is given under the contract of service. I hope it's clear. Yes, Namrita, absolutely right. Option D is the correct answer. Now moving to the next question. Yes, it is now question number 4. Question number is 4, talking about it. Considering the facts in issue 4, is the appointment of Hero as a director of the company valid? Now what the thing is required, let's go to the issue number 4 first in order to understand what is given and what needs to be find out. If you see issue number 4, that company at the AGM held on 30th September. Again, the date is given. Okay. 30th September, company had an AGM where they appointed Mr. Ghana as a non-executive director on the board of the company for a period of 3 years. Then on 2nd October, what happened? That Mr. Ghana met with an accident and he died. So board of director now decided on 16th of October 2021 to appoint Hero to fill up this casual vacancy so created. So appointment of Hero was made for a term of 3 years by board unconditionally, and that way the next general meeting was scheduled on 29th October 2021. So here the important thing is that first of all Mr. Ghana is appointed as a non-executive director. Since you all must be aware that in any board of the company, there are basically or broadly 2 types of the directors: executive, non-executive. Executive director is there who just looks into day-to-day activities of the company, day-to-day affairs of the company, who are involved in the business operations of the company. Whereas non-executive director, if you call about a non-executive director, is the person who is not related to the company, is not involved in the, you can say, the business operation of day-to-day activities. So they are non-executive director and they are involved in the policy making or decisions. So to give the right direction to the company. So they are non-executive director and independent director, nominee director. These are all of the non-executive nature of the directors. Then here what happened, that director who has been appointed in the AGM. Okay, he was a normal appointed as a director who was appointed in the AGM. Then what happened, that director met with an accident and he was no more as of now. So BOD decided to appoint Mr. Hero in place of him to fill this casual vacancy because the casual vacancy has arrived during that time. When any director's tenure is left unexpired and due to any reason or contingency, that particular post has become vacant. So that office is said to be casual vacancy. So in that case, so now what happened? The Mr. Hero was appointed to fill up this casual vacancy so caused by the death of Mr. Ghana. So appointment of Hero was made here also for the 3 terms by for whatever has been given for the original director. They have also given the same term of 3 years, and this also in the case study reflects that next general meeting is scheduled on 29th October 2020. Now, if you want to see whether this appointment is in line with the legal requirement or not, you need to have understanding of section 161 subsection 4. Why 161? Because 161 deals with the appointment of directors which are made by board. You know that there are four kinds of directors given in section 161. If you see director, yes, so there are four kinds of directors given over there. In 161 subsection 1, it talks about appointment of additional director. Okay, section 161, which deals with the appointment of directors made by board. So here if you see subsection 1, it talks about additional director. Then 161 subsection 2 talks about alternate director. If you see 161 subsection 3, it talks about nominee director. Whereas section 161 subsection 4 talks about casual director. So here if whatever the situation is given of the appointment of Mr. Hero, who has been appointed in the place of Mr. Ghana, so that way a casual vacancy has arisen because of his, death all of a sudden during his tenure of officership. So that is why they are led to the casual vacancy. And so now here Mr. Hero has been said to be appointed. So whether this is in line with the requirement of 161 or subsection 4 or not as per the Companies Act. So if you see the Companies Act, subsection 4, it talks about that if any office of any director is, appointed by company general meeting. Okay, if a general meeting, then and if that office is being vacated before the terms expire in the normal course, a casual vacancy is resulted. So such casual vacancy shall be filled by board of director in board meeting. Please remember, such casual vacancy shall be filled by the board of director in board meeting, and which shall be required to be subsequently approved by members in general meeting. This is very important condition. Don't forget. If up till here only this much is being done, that is incomplete in itself. The final approval is given by the members in the general meeting, that too in the immediate next general meeting. Please remember, immediate next general meeting, that too passed by SR. This is the requirement for filling of casual vacancy. Now let's see let's check out with the question what the question is asking about. Now it is being said that an appointment of Hero as a director of the company. We have already considered the facts. Now let's see which is the correct answer over here in line with the act. First option given over here is that appointment of Hero by the BOD is not valid as it is against the provision of the Companies Act and he should have been appointed by the member in extraordinary general meeting. So before I just solve this question, I would like to hear from the students what students are going to mark over here the answer. Yes, students, I am looking forward. According to you, what could be the right answer in the given case? Because already I have explained you the relevant provisions. So just wanted to hear from your end what could be the right answer. Because already if you see the answer has been marked by Mujib. Yes, answer B. Absolutely. Very good, Mujib. You are right. Yes, students, anymore? Because already I've said you keep after appointment by the board of directors in a board meeting, it needs a subsequent approval by the shareholders. If you see option one says that it is not valid, it is against the provision of the Companies Act, and he should have been appointed by the member in extraordinary general meeting. So, first of all, he is saying that the appointment of hero by board of directors is not valid because he is saying that he should have been appointed. No, first it should be appointed in the board meeting by the board. Then it is the next requirement of getting the approval of the shareholders. So accordingly, this option is wrong. Yes, Shankara, you're also absolutely right that option B is the correct answer. Why option B is correct answer? Already told you because they have been that Mr. Hero has been validly appointed in a board meeting, but the requirement is that it should be approved by the member in the general meeting. The next immediate general meeting, which has also been given date over here, that is on 29th October 2021. So according here, the option B is right. Option C and D, now you can make it out. They both are the wrong options. Why option C is wrong? Because already it's saying that there is not required for the appointment of shareholders. Approval is not required. So that is altogether wrong. Okay. Similarly, for option D also, it's saying that appointment of this is not valid as a director cannot be immediately appointed. So this is also the condition which is not correct over here because the provision clearly defines that yes, a person can be appointed in the cause of the casual vacancy. Only the requirement is that through board meeting. Okay. Through the board meeting, it could be done by the board and then subsequent approval by the shareholders. So this is as simple the legal provision, and accordingly here the option B is the correct answer. Now let's move to the next question. So let me start with yes,
Nisha?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, Nisha, madam.
Sir, which question to be taken next, sir?
Next question I will take.
Okay, fine,
Question
sir.
number 5.
Yes, sir.
Yes, students, the facts of this are given. Facts of this question are given in issue number 5. And Nisha, madam, can you go to issue number 5?
Yes, sir.
Besides company related matters, Sahana asked Madan to advise her in her individual tax matters too. She is planning to buy a residential house for her own residence, which is priced at 48.50 lakhs, means below 50 lakhs. Person selling the flat is NRI. Rainbow is NRI as per the provisions of Income Tax Act, and he will be visiting India to execute the sale deed. After the title gets transferred, the flat will be renovated with a total cost of 60 lakhs approximately. Madan was quite astonished when he got to know that renovation is more than this amount. Sana informed Madan that she is purchasing the flat due to her father's emotional attachment with the locality and evaluating to finalize the contractor for the, and she is evaluating to finalize the contractor for the renovation work to make the interiors as per her like. It means जो contractual contractor, it means the contractor would be resident person, and whereas flat has been purchased from a non-resident. So students, now see what the question is asking about. What the question is asking about. So 60 lakh is the renovation cost, contract cost to renovate, and 48.5 lakhs is purchase price of the flat from NRI. Question is asking, is Sahana not required to comply with any provision under Income Tax Act, considering her individual tax returns are not subject to audit under the provisions of. So TDS is required to be deducted. TDS is required to be deducted under section 194 IA on purchase of property, but no TDS is required to be deducted on contract work of renovation, as individuals are not required to deduct TDS, and that also for personal work. So students, first there are, you see section 194 IA on purchase, TDS is required to be deducted under section 194 IA on purchase of property. So students, if I go to section 194 IA, तो 194 IA जो है प्रॉपर्टी, इट टॉक्स अबाउट TDS on payment a buyer makes to the seller for purchase of property. So TDS on payment on transfer of certain immovable property, other than, this is of course other than rural agricultural land, this is on transfer of immovable property, certain immovable property, but other than rural agricultural land. So every person is liable to deduct, every person. Section 194 IA states that every person, important as students, every person is liable to TDS at the rate of, or rate क्या students, 1%. 194 IA is suggesting 1% TDS, and every person is liable to deduct TDS. Nobody is exempted from this. Every person. क्या लिखा है? On payment made for purchase of immovable property, और क्वेश्चन में भी immovable property purchase हुई है. To a person resident in India. अब यहां पे on payment made for purchase of immovable property to a person resident in India लिखा है. अब यहां पे इस क्वेश्चन में रेजिडेंट है ही नहीं, हम जो पेमेंट कर रहे हैं वो रेजिडेंट को नहीं कर रहे. ओके, फिर भी हम देखेंगे कि 194 आइए क्या कह रहा है. एक्सेप्ट फॉर रूरल एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड, और एक्सेप्शन क्या है? रूरल एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड को एक्सेप्शन, अदर देन रूरल एग्रीकल्चर. इफ देयर इज रूरल एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड, दिस सेक्शन विल नॉट अप्लाई. मींस no need of deduction of TDS is there. And where the sale consideration for the property is less than 50 lakhs, sale consideration of the property is less than 50 lakhs, तो सेक्शन 194 आइए अप्लाई नहीं होगा. अब स्टूडेंट्स, क्वेश्चन में जो सेल कंसिडरेशन मैंने आपको बताया था लेस देन 50 lakhs है, बिकॉज इट इज 48.5 lakhs. सेल कंसिडरेशन इज 48.50 lakhs, and but the condition is this payment is made to this to a person resident in India. और इस क्वेश्चन में क्या, पेमेंट इज मेड टू नॉन रेजिडेंट. If the payment is made to non-resident, then the limit will not apply. Then the limit stated here will not apply because the payment is made to non-resident. So the important point is, students, if the immovable property is purchased from a non-resident person for any value, then no TDS is required to be deducted under this section. Because this section specifically is talking about payment made to resident, and since in this question payment is being made to made to non-resident, and this section is specifically talking of section 194 IA is talking of payment made to resident. So students, if the immovable property is purchased from a non-resident person for any value means no limit. There is no limit. Even if it is 10 lakhs, even if it is 5 lakhs, no any value, no TDS is required to be deducted under this section. इस section में नहीं होगा. However, TDS shall be deducted under section 195. तो 195 में students TDS deduct होगा. So अब देखते हैं. Let us see what the answer is. तो TDS is required to be deducted under 194 IA में तो student TDS deduct, तो इसका मतलब पहला तो आंसर हमारा incorrect है ये. Second, TDS is required to be deducted under section 195 on purchase of property. Up TDS is required to be deducted under section 195 on purchase of property. So, as I have told you that since the payment is made to a non-resident and there is no limit of 50 lakhs in that case, and because he is non-resident, so TDS will be deducted under section 195. That is the correct statement. And now what the other statement is, because there was also a renovation contract of 60 lakhs and also TDS is required to be deducted on contract work of renovation as the contract value is 60 lakhs. अब ये क्या प्रोविजन है स्टूडेंट? 60 lakhs. 60 lakhs पे because the payment was made, payment of renovation contract was made to a resident supposedly for rupees 60 lakhs. Now, will the TDS be deducted on this? Because this is personal payment, payment for personal sort of thing. Now, यहाँ पे, here which section of the law, income tax law will be attracted? Can anyone student tell? Okay, before analyzing option B, I will go to option C and will analyze what is stated there. TDS is not required to be deducted under section 195. ये तो TDS is not required to be deducted तो वैसे ही गलत हो गया. C तो वैसे ही गलत हो गया because TDS is required to be deducted. तो D ऑप्शन निशा मैडम दिखा दीजिए.
Yes, sir.
TDS is not required to be deducted under, ये correct है. TDS 194 IA में नहीं होगा as the amount of purchase consideration is less than 50 lakhs and no TDS is required to be deducted. अब यहाँ पे स्टूडेंट देखो क्वेश्चन जो यहाँ पे आपको ट्रैप करना चाह रहा है, बी और डी ऑप्शन में ट्रैप करना चाह रहा है. एंड नो TDS is required to be deducted on contract work as individuals are not required to deduct TDS. और सहना का ऑडिट भी नहीं हो रहा, क्लियरली बोल दिया उसने क्वेश्चन के अंदर. अगर आप क्वेश्चन देखोगे, यस निशा मैडम क्वेश्चन दिखाना ये, शी इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू डिडक्ट, नॉट सब्जेक्ट टू ऑडिट, ऑडिट भी नहीं हो रहा इसका. तो स्टूडेंट्स बी और डी में से कौन सा ऑप्शन और कौन सा सेक्शन यहाँ पे अट्रैक्ट होगा रिनोवेशन वाला कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के लिए? यस स्टूडेंट्स, मुजीब has stated section 194M if contract value is more than 50 lakh. तो मुजीब बिल्कुल करेक्ट बताया आपने. TDS is required to be deducted on both purchase and contract for renovation. शंकरा आपने भी ठीक बताया. तो 10 is required to cut TDS, right sir? तो सूरज कुलकर्णी 10 यहाँ पे इन सेक्शंस के अंदर 10 की रिक्वायरमेंट को छोड़ दिया गया था. तो here the TDS will be on PAN based, not 10 based. मैं आपको पढ़ के भी सुना देता हूं. Yes. तो 194M स्टूडेंट्स यहां पे अट्रैक्ट होगा. Which states? तो 194M. If you go to section 194M students, TDS on payment of certain sums by individual and HUF. This is newly introduced section, not new, rather it was introduced by Finance Act 2019. TDS on payment of certain sums by individual and HUF. एनी पर्सन बीइंग एन इंडिविजुअल और एचयूएफ। अब यहां पे साना कौन है? इंडिविजुअल है। एनी पर्सन, साना को सर्कल करना निशा। साना इंडिविजुअल है, तो टीडीएस ऑन पेमेंट ऑफ सर्टेन सम्स पेड बाय इंडिविजुअल। एनी पर्सन बीइंग एन इंडिविजुअल, सेक्शन क्या कहता है? एनी पर्सन बीइंग एन इंडिविजुअल and other than those which are covered deducted required to deduct income tax as 194C और 194H को छोड़ दीजिए, J को भी छोड़ दीजिए। रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर पेइंग एनी सम टू एनी रेजिडेंट, यहां पे रेजिडेंट को पेमेंट हो रही है। फॉर कैरिंग आउट एनी वर्क इंक्लूडिंग सप्लाई ऑफ लेबर फॉर कैरिंग आउट एनी वर्क इन परसुएंस ऑफ ए कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, तो यहां पे रिनोवेशन का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है। Shall at the time of credit of such sum or at the time of payment, whichever is earlier, of course, deduct an amount of TDS equal to 5% of the sum as income tax. तो 5% TDS will be there students 60 lakhs पे यहां पे। और अभी स्टूडेंट ने क्वेश्चन पूछा था, एंड प्लीज रिमेंबर स्टूडेंट्स, हियर द लिमिट इज 50 lakhs, provided that no such deduction under this section shall be made if such sum credited or paid to the resident during a financial year does not exceed 50 lakh rupees। अगर स्टूडेंट 50 लाख से नीचे का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है तो फिर टीडीएस की जरूरत नहीं होगी, बिकॉज सम इज ग्रेटर देन 50 लैक्स, अमाउंट इज ग्रेटर देन 50 लैक्स, 60 लैक्स का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था, तो इसलिए टीडीएस डिडक्शन होगा एट द रेट ऑफ 5%। निशा मैडम लिख देना, एट द रेट ऑफ 5%, 60 लैक्स का 5% टीडीएस काट के पेमेंट होगी। आई होप स्टूडेंट्स इट इज क्लियर। यस, एनी डाउट ऑन दिस क्वेश्चन? यस, नो डाउट इज देयर। हाँ, 10 का डाउट था। 10 इज रिक्वायर्ड टू, वन स्टूडेंट इज आस्किंग अबाउट 10 नंबर। तो लेट मी एक्सप्लेन स्टूडेंट्स। हाँ, इन ऑर्डर टू रिड्यूस द कंप्लायंस बर्डन, नोट कर लीजिए स्टूडेंट्स आप, यू कैन नोट डाउन स्टूडेंट्स। इन ऑर्डर टू रिड्यूस द कंप्लायंस बर्डन, it is stated in the memorandum itself that such individuals, so that such individuals और HUF भी इसमें कवर्ड है, shall be able to deposit the tax deducted using their permanent account number। तो इसमें कंप्लायंस बर्डन को रिड्यूस करने के लिए स्टूडेंट्स, in order to reduce the compliance burden, so it was proposed in the फाइनेंस एक्ट, बजट में प्रपोज किया गया था, इट using permanent account number and shall not be required to obtain TAN, and the cessee shall not be required to obtain the TAN। तो compliance burden को reduce करने के लिए स्टूडेंट्स there is no need of requirement of TAN, rather it would be PAN based। तो PAN, I hope it is clear। Shankara? No, it was Suraj, you had asked about 10 is required to cut TDS, तो 10 would not be required। यहाँ पे लिख देना निशा मैडम, 10 would not be required। तो आई होप द आंसर इज क्लियर, वेरी मच क्लियर। 194 आइए क्यों नहीं लग रहा? सूरज, यस यस सर, यस इट इज क्लियर। ओके सूरज। सो स्टूडेंट्स 194 आइए, आपको क्लियर है कि यहाँ पे क्यों अट्रैक्ट नहीं हुआ, एंड 195 बिकॉज नॉन रेजिडेंट है तो 95 195 प्रोविजंस विल बी एप्लीकेबल, एंड 194 M section will be applicable. So therefore answer B is correct. Yes, any doubt on this question? Yes. Moving further, Nisha madam, will you take first question number 8 or I should take question number 7?
Then let me take question number 8, sir.
Okay. Please,
Okay.
you can go
Yes,
ahead.
dear student, if you see the question number 8, that is a descriptive question. Here it has been said that executive and non-executive director have different roles. This already I have explained you during the session itself. Okay, that executive director is the one who is involved with the day-to-day affairs of the company.
Madam,
Yes, sir.
before you move ahead,
Yes, sir.
one student Namrata has asked, in exam sometime I get stuck while what should I do? Where do you get stuck, Namrata? Namrata? Yes. Yes, you can continue.
Yes. So as I told you, basically in the board, there are two nature of the directors are there, executive and non-executive. The non-executive director also play a very crucial role, and because they are the persons who are actually called as a guide, coach and mentor to the company. Because what happens, they play a role in including to improve the corporate credibility as well as the governance standards by working as a watchdog and helping in managing the risk in the company. So that way, if you see the non-executive director, they play a crucial role in the policy laydowns or in any kind of the decisions, and thus providing a guidance or steering to direct the company to move in an efficient manner. And when we talk about the independent directors, you see the relevant provisions are given with respect to the appointment of independent directors as well as the disqualifications and which are the companies who requires to appoint the independent directors. So every relevant provision is given in the Companies Act. So first we should know the relevant provision which talks about the independent director, which companies are required to appoint it. So if you see section 149, you will be finding that section also talk about the board of directors, and in the board of director it talks about the one of the director is of nature of independent director. So it is given under subsection 4 of section 149. Though it is not important to remember the section, but yes, when you inculcate in your self the reading of and just retaining of this important subsection, it will make it bring you more clarity. Yes, this specific section talks about this particular aspect, because if you see section 149, it contains many things. It talks about the number of the directors in the board. It talks about women directors, and if you see it talks about resident directors. So many things are there. So whenever you have clarity ki yes, this subsection deals with this specific part of the main section, you can directly go to that particular section since it is an open book. So if you are make out which is the relevant provision, you can directly go to that particular relevant provision within the exams time. So it is required that in what way the chapter is flowing within the study material, in what way the sections are being arranged, so that accordingly, rather than wasting your time in the examination, don't go to that particular relevant provision. You can go to the relevant part, because you know that this section comes after this, or in this chapter it has been arranged in such a manner. So you should have a thorough idea of the study material. So take the study material whenever you're taking in the examination, you should have an idea, and before you have gone through the study material in a proper and orderly manner, so that there you are not being confused with respect to the relevant page in the examination. Yes, Namrita is asking when I'm not able to write full answer in the particular time and take 1 hour for 20 to 30 marks and it triggers panic. Yes, Namrita, generally the thing is that before starting your questions, you are given the additional 15 minutes for reading the paper, right? So in that, within that 15 minutes itself, you need to decide the case study which you are going to attempt first, because just giving a quick glance to all the case studies you can make it out just looking at the question also ki, yes, this could be attempted and this can be solved. So you can accordingly within that time frame just decide it at once within the 15 minutes of time which case study you are going to attempt it first. Okay. And if it happens generally, in the case of the first case study, generally you take more time. So you have to allocate the time also. And to certain extent, you have to fix the time. Ki, yes, after this much time, I will not give more time to that particular question. You can leave it over there, leave a certain space and go to the next questions. Because it is better to attempt all the case studies rather than attempting one or two case studies in order to get to do your best. So that can't be possible. You are required to attempt the entire paper. So within that, you can say to wherever you have the time. So accordingly, you matlab in the within the time frame, you need to decide ki yes, half an hour or about 1 hour I'm going to give to the first case study, or later on I'm going to the next rest of the time I will divide among the remaining case studies to be attempted. And once you come into the pace and everything, and you have attempted very well the first case study, then you will be able to attempt the rest of the case studies also in that way. Then moving to the next question that Miss Namrita is asking, yes, ma'am, it is necessary to remember subsection also. Yes, Namrita, only the thing is that ki you need to bring into daily practice and reading this remembering of sections. That means whenever you're reading any legal provision, try to read it with subsections also. Not every, but some of the important subsections. As already I've told you with respect to independent director, of course, it is subsection 4 with respect to section 149. If you have not retained the subsection over there, then definitely you'll be just looking subsection 3 and sometime you're looking subsection 2. Then at that time, what will happen? You'll be confused or you'll be looking subsection 6, which is dealing with the disqualification of the independent director. So at that time, what happens? During that, examination time, already you are in such a stress and in a state of mind that you're not able to find out the correct section if somewhere you're lost within that pages. So it is better to have a clarity ki, yes, this is a subsection, so you can directly go to that subsection and you can go to the relevant page in the study mat. So it could be done, only it's to bring into your habit and into your daily routine life to read along with the sections or wherever required with the important subsections of any section, that with the along with the heading, so that you can easily find out the relevant provision within the study material at the time during the examination. I hope this is clear to you, Namrita. Then Suraj is asking, Madam, generally giving 45 minutes to read each case study in exam is ideal. Yes, this is Suraj. I can only say about, since initially you have to give a quick glance. Quick glance in the sense you have to read speedily so that you have had an idea ki yes, this case study pertains to this, this subject or related to this legal provision. So you can make it out during that time only. So some way you need to give accordingly the time allocated to each and every case study. Since 4 hours is there, so yes, reading of case study, the facts take a time, but yes, when you will give a quick glance, you tend to get an idea. So when you start doing it, at that time, you can easily make it out while reading the question ki yes, somewhere this para is pertain to this. So you can go to the relevant para and then you can start doing up the relevant questions. So management of time is of course a very crucial over here in the examination situation, and that makes a difference. So you need to have a proper time management. Then yes, then next Shankara is also asking about, just like other papers in which first question is compulsory, in this paper 6, also will the first case study be compulsory? Dear students, as of looking this thing, I would be saying there are 5 case studies is given in the paper, and out of 5 you have to attempt any 4 case studies. So
Yes,
that way
yes,
there is
yes.
no such a thing. The first question is compulsory.
First
This is not.
question will not be compulsory.
This is not meant for IBS actually. So in IBS, you have to
Yes,
attempt any 4 case studies out of
any
the
4 case
case
study
studies.
out of 5 case studies. Yes,
Yes.
students, you will be given 5 case studies in the paper, and out of those 5 case studies, you will be required to attempt any 4 case studies. Case
Yes.
study 1 will not be compulsory. There will not be any compulsory question.
Yes. So that way, next question again, by Namrata, ma'am, can we get
Namrata
anything?
has asked, when I am not able to write full answer in that particular time and take 1 hour for 20 to 30 marks, and it triggers panic. Namrata, this is very good question, Namrata, of course. And most of the students are, I think, most of the students are doing like this, the way you have said, that first question takes 45 minutes to 1 hour in attempting, and then it gets panic to attempt the other questions. Namrata, to overcome this problem, let me explain to you. You will have to do some practice first. You will have to do some practice and then try to implement the things in the examination conditions. First point, important point is, you this is in respect of all subjects. This is in respect of all papers, all subjects, that you should be conceptual, clear, because this is final level. Deep conceptual clarity is required, and moreover, the application of the concepts, analytically, theoretically, application of the concept, you do need a lot of practice in that. You should do lot of practice of the concepts itself, and then application part also. And when you do like this, your speed will you will find a change in yourself, and your speed will automatically accelerate. And moreover, just keep in mind, just make it a practice while testing, while taking mock test papers. Do appear for mock test papers, and from starting itself, the point of time when you start the paper, just be determined about this, that I have to write fast, a bit fast, means not very slow, a bit fast, and I have to conclude my first question, complete question within say 20 minutes or 30 minutes whatsoever. So if you practice like this, you will find that you are able to achieve your target, and consequently complete the paper within the given time. Yes, this is my advice to you, but it needs implementation, of course. You need to implement.
So well said by sir, ki what all care you can take while attempting the paper, just the practice. Because practice, unless until you won't practice, you won't get the, that confidence also. The confidence comes with the practice only. That is what sir want to say. So don't get panic. Panic is not a solution. If you get, panic over there, so definitely you are being disturbed. So that way, don't get panic at all. Be cool and calm and just again decide to just bring yourself into that pace again and start up writing with the
Nisha
answers.
madam, you can also elaborate the point the Namrata is asking, because most of the students I see get stuck up in the examination hall and take too much time in attempting question number 1 itself.
Generally, sir, it happens. Question number one takes a time because in first question, what happens to bring yourself into that pace, into more, into that speed and everything. It takes a time to write the
It
answer. So
also used
first,
to Nisha madam, sorry I am interrupting in between.
yeah,
It
yeah, sir.
also the same situation I also faced while I was writing C examination. In my student times I am talking about, and how I overcome this thing. So I explained only that how I got to overcome that, because I on say after 1 2 attempts, when I thought that yes, this problem is persisting problem, so then I intentionally I accelerated my speed from the beginning itself, and it worked out well. It worked out well, and I was able to finish my paper within the given time. So this
Sir,
works. This
yes, sir.
also works.
Yes, sir.
Although you very rightly said that yes, there is no doubt on this that first question will take more time than the other questions. There is no doubt on this.
It's
Yes.
true. And sir, apart from that, whatever the MTPs or the RTPs are made available to you students, just practice from it also. Because practice is ultimately the solution to come out of all these issues. So practice will not only give you confidence, but also how to attempt the paper within the 4 hours, the entire paper. That practice should also be derived from itself through the attempting of MTP. So try to undergo into similar situation of examination, just attempt paper in such a situation also in an examination situation. Try to finish and make a target to finish by 3:30 minutes, 3 hours 30 minutes, because if you fix yourself to the lower side, then definitely you'll be able to complete within the 4 hours. So that way you should fix your time limit to finish the paper as early, but within the provided early timings that you should fix in your mind ki, yes, I have to complete within 3 hours 30 minutes. Then only you'll be able to complete by 4 hours that way. So this practice should be done while attempting the MTP itself. So you should do that practice again and again. There will be 2 series of the MTPs, of course. So try to do as per the examination situation within the 4 hours. So you will find it quite key. Yes, you are able to attempt the paper also within the 4 hours. That will be possible. Only the practice is the thing to do similarly in the examination situation of the MTPs. The next query that has been is raised is yes.
Suraj Kulkarni is asking, will there be RTP for this paper also? Yes,
Yes,
RTP
sir.
will be released of
Yes,
this
yes.
paper
Suraj
also.
RTP will be there. Yes.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
Then Namrita is again asking means along with the revision, I have to solve more and more questions also. Of course, because when you are solving more and more questions, you are doing revision also that way. And of course, writing will definitely bring you more confident while writing, because it will increase your speed also, as well as conceptual understanding also, as well as grasp on the concepts in a more better way than just only reading reading the questions or practicing. So writing will definitely increase your percentage, you can say, of whatever you are putting efforts into it. Then the next question, I could see that Namrita is asking, can we get MCQ booklet for other subject like FR, FM? Yes, wherever there is a 30-mark MCQ segment, there definitely OMR sheet will be provided to you for solving the answer, as well as separately the MCQ booklet will be provided to you. So now moving to the question part. Yes, as I was discussing about, that independent director. So I told you that in independent director, subsection 4 is the relevant provision, which clearly says that which is the company who needs to appoint the independent director. So it first specifies that every listed public company, this is the first important thing, every means every listed public company needs to appoint independent director. And then it also specifies how many directors can be appointed in the company. So in the case of listed public company, it takes that at least 1/3 of the total number of directors shall be forming the independent director. Many times the questions has been asked in the examinations on the basis of these types of the subsection key. If there's a listed public company, then how many directors will be appointed in the company, the independent directors. So there are given the total number of directors given in the board. Now you have to find out how many independent directors should be there or is it required to be there in the board. So that way, this is the requirement. At least 1/3 of the total number of the director in a board shall be the independent director if it is a listed public company. Okay. Now the further section says that even there may be other class of the companies also who need to appoint the independent directors, and they have been specified by the central government. They prescribe the other class of the companies. And what are the other class of the companies? They are given under Rule 4 of the Appointment and Qualification of Directors chapter. So remember that it is given under the appointment and qualification of the director. There, the rule 4 is given, so it specifies which is all the other class of the public companies who are requiring to have the independent directors. So if you see, it prescribes that such class, who are the class of the companies? First, the company, the public company who are having paid up share capital of 10 crores or more. Okay. Second requirement is given that who has turnover of 100 crore or more. And the third condition that is given for the companies who is having aggregate outstanding loans, debentures or deposits exceeding 50 crore. And in all those situations, there is a word at or. Along with the paid up share capital, either a company is having a paid up share capital of 10 crore or more, or it is the company is having the turnover of 100 crore or more, or if there's any outstanding loan or deposit or the debentures exceeding 50 crore rupees, then in that case, such company shall also be required to have independent directors to be appointed in the board. Right? So this is about which companies is being required. And there are certain qualifications when any person can be appointed as an independent director. Again, this is very important section. Please remember that, which talks about the disqualification. They are given certain conditions. If that person falls within that, the disqualification, he shall not be appointed as an independent director. So you also need to have what are all those, this disqualifications. If you read section 149 subsection 6, it clearly specifies number of disqualification, whether he is a promoter in a company or he is related to the director or promoter of any company, or you can say about if he's having any kind of pecuniary interest in the company. In that case, if any kind of the interest is there of that independent director, then such person cannot be appointed as an independent director. So read these sections clearly and also try to retain and makes a point in a simplified manner to remember these disqualifications. But yes, it is an open book, so that will also be not an issue at all at this point of time in the IBS. But yes, if you go independently the paper, then you are being required, because there it being a closed book. So there in that case, you are being required to have, that little bit, what are the important disqualifications being attracted for, that ineligibility of the person to be appointed as an independent director. Now, the other important thing is there, sometimes a question is also being asked with respect to where such person either himself or along with his relative, if he has certain kind of, shareholding, then also it is being said of how much value. If it is indebted to any debt, then the guarantee or the security given. So in that case, you are also being required to have all these knowledge, because generally the questions are being tested on the basis of these information only. So read it and prepare a simplified manner table so that you can easily retain these important aspects while reading of the subject. Now moving to the question, what the question is given over here.
Nisha madam, before
Yes,
you
sir.
move to the question,
Yes, sir.
Namrata was asking about the MCQ booklet actually. So
Yes,
MCQ portal we have.
yes,
Is
sir.
there,
That is
na?
what I was about to tell. We are having, that MCQ dashboard. Actually,
Okay.
this is the very great initiative taken by the BOS. If you see, there is an MCQ dashboard, go to it. There are number of case studies, independent questions are given there for your practice and assessing where you are standing after reading the subject. So you just go to the ICI website on the homepage, and you will be then logging to the BOS knowledge portal. And in the BOS knowledge portal on the right side, you will be finding a window. And there, by entering your credentials, you can enter into the MCQ dashboard. So in the MCQ dashboard on various subjects, all the subjects, there are MCQs given for the practice. So you can simply by, just attending that MCQs, you can find out whether how much conceptual understanding you are having in that particular subject. Even at the very same time, the result is also there on your screen. So that way, kindly go and solve it. The MCQ knowledge portal, the MCQ is given over there, the case scenarios nature of the questions to understand how the legal provisions are being tested in a case scenario situations. So that will be helping you a lot in the IBS also in respect to that the very same independent subject also. So that way, kindly solve more and more these MCQs. Then Namrita is asking, I'm asking for practice purpose on BOS, is that case study booklet will be available or not? Namrita, as of now, since already number of case studies are being hosted for your reference, kindly go with that these case studies. Plus, two case studies will be there in the recent our student journal also. You can also go and see how the scenarios can be tested based on these various subjects. So you can go over there. In order that it gives a holistic approach, because if you see in this newsletter, there are different kind of the case scenarios. Whatever is given is again different kind of the case scenario. So a holistic approach is given how the different papers, different concept may be interrelated and tested. So you can do it from over there also. And in the meantime, more case studies will also be made available to you students. Now, Namrita is again asking, this limit is only for public company. Yes, for public company only. Either listed companies or unlisted public companies. These are only the two categories that has been defined with respect to independent directors. So that means in private companies, this shall not be applicable with respect to the independent directors. Only two class, either the listed public companies or unlisted public companies. So I hope, Namrita, this is also clear to you. Yes. Now moving to the question part. The question is asking about the responsibility of independent director. With reference to financial reporting and approval part of the audit committee requires a special mention. Now explain with example. So you can see here basically how many sections are being tested. First is with respect to the independent directors that you should know, and second with respect to the audit committee, because independent director is also a member of the audit committee. So it asks with respect to the audit committee. So if you see about the audit committee, section 177, it is a section which is talking about the audit committee. So there it clearly prescribes that majority of the members of the audit committee shall be independent director. So first of this distinction should be there. Second, it also specified what all functions this audit committee can be performing. So if you see section 177, let's go to the answer to just make you understand. So if you see this section 177 subsection 3, which specifies the terms of reference. Terms of reference means what all function it can perform, that has been specified over there. So in the audit committee terms, it is subsection 4. This is section 177 subsection 4, which gives down the terms of references. Okay, what all function it can do it. So if you first of all in the first paragraph, we have just distinguished little bit about the executive and non-executive director, because already in the question we have stated about them also. So that way I've already told the executive directors who are responsible for the business operations. Okay, and they can be managing director, or you can say they can be full-time directors who are there in the employment, full-time employment. Then second category, if you see the non-executive directors, so what they do, they help in the formulation of the policies. Okay, so here what happens, these professional directors, independent directors who provide, that expertise, because of their expertise and experience and skill in the subject in the various fields of law, management, sales, marketing, and in various technical, businesses parts. So what happens in that case, they are considered as non-executive directors because they lay down and help give their opinion in the policy making. So that is where these independent director and nominee director, they are not included generally in the category of, you can say, normal director, but they are being covered under the non-executive directors. So that way, non-executive, these directors are included. Then they are not active in the day-to-day business activity, already told you. So that way, they are not related to the companies, we can say all about non-executive directors. So this is said about this thing, and non-executive directors are generally not liable unless and until they have done certain act or they have knowingly given consented to any wrongful acts. Then only these non-executive directors will be held liable. Okay. Then now the thing is that we are asking about the role of the independent directors as per the requirement of the questions. With respect to the financial reporting and approval as a part of the audit committee. So already told you that section 177 subsection 4 deals with the function that has been specified. So here you can, in the short, you can make it to retain what are the important sections. And if you know the relevant subsection, you will go to the study material at the relevant respective place. And then you can see the what are the important functions they perform. First, with respect to the recommendations for what? For appointment, for remuneration, and for term of the appointment of whom? Of the auditors of the company. Because when we're talking about the financial reporting as well as the approval of this, you can say of the financial statement, somewhere these auditors has a keen role to play, and they play a very crucial role in giving the true and fair, look to that particular this financial statements and everything. So in this case, first, with respect to, because these are the functions which play a crucial role in respect to financial reporting also. So that way, first the recommendation part says the recommendations for with respect to the appointment, remuneration, and terms of appointment for the auditors of the company. Then second important aspect is that with respect to review and monitor. What to monitor? Monitor the auditors' independent and performance. That means they are independently doing it without any influence of any other, you can say the management or the person of the company. So that way they will review audit independently, and the effectiveness of the audit work, that is also very much required. Then next part is that examination of the financial statement and the auditor's report. This is again important aspect, that independent director being in the audit committee, they examine the financial statement as well as the report submitted by the auditors thereon. So they see that everything is going and correctly it has been done. So that way they examine these documents. Then they evaluate what are the internal financial controls and risk management system. That way company is properly working, and whether it company is running in any kind of, you can say whether they are being, due to that certain kind of act, the company is going to face any kind of the loss or the mishappening or any kind of effect to the, stakeholders. So that way they see that the company is properly working in a right direction and in a correct manner. So that way they evaluate that everything with respect to the internal financial control as well as the risk management system. Then they do the valuation of any, if any asset of the company is there or any undertaking of the company is there. So that way they also do the valuation wherever it is necessary. So that way auditor works with respect to the valuation part. Then also the independent being a member of the audit committee, what they do, they approve or they subsequently, if there's a requirement of modification of any transaction of the company with respect to related parties. Because whenever there's any transaction entered with the related parties, generally this type of section is not, this kind of transaction is bit restricted, they have been marked certain conditions on the entering of the related party transactions under section 188. What are related parties, when they can enter into any kind of the transactions, or what are the requisite for making such type of the transactions. So that way, such type of any transaction is made by the company, then in that case, the approval is given by the audit committee, that independent director in the audit committee. A proper approval is being taken for such type of transactions being made with the related parties. Then next is the scrutiny of intercorporate loans and investment. Yes, this is again important because there's a limitation mark how much loan or investment can be done by a company into any other body corporate. So that way a scrutiny is properly being done ki yes, they are, whether they are within limitations, they are just investing or just giving the loans to the corporates. So that way proper scrutiny of such types of nature of the act is also being taken care by the independent directors. Then monitoring the end use of funds which have been raised through public offers. So that way it has also been checked that whatever the shares has been offered to the public, what as well as the fund has been raised, that has been monitored whether it has been used in the right directions or not. So that way audit committee plays a crucial role, and being a member the independent director who occupies the majority within the audit committee, they see all these important acts and prospects in the company to bring out in the fairly manner. So that way, independent director can be a person of integrity. Already told that they are the personal of skills, experience, and expertise actually in the different fields. So they can give their best, inputs in the policy decision making related to the company's business. And already said, as the majority of the persons being an independent director, this already I've told you. So generally, what happens if this is given in the audit committee, the about the policy making taken by the non-executive, that the independent director, that too in an independent manner without being influenced by any of the management person. So this will promote the principle of corporate governance. So that way it will bring, the accountability and transparency of the company. So this way the disclosures are given so that the stakeholders also have a faith, the investment company community also have a faith on the company. Yes, the company is working properly in a transparency manner, and they can invest more and more into the company if they are truly and fairly they are doing their work and they are bringing everything before the stakeholders in a transparent manner. So that way, if you see, lastly, we've concluded our answer because they have in the questions have clearly asked about, that independent data, how crucial role they play being a member. So that is why these are all the functions. So these functions or the transactions have a critical impact with reference to the financial reporting process and approval of the financial statements. So accordingly, these independent director in the capacity as a member of the audit committee play a key role. So this is very important. I have told you independent director and its, its relation in the audit committee, how it occupies the majority, how it plays the role, and how it enhance this, governance standards, which has been leading to the proper, corporate credentials maintainability, so that properly the company is being regulated and conducted in order to bring, benefit to the stakeholders and the investor communities that way. So I hope this is clear to you regarding this particular independent director and the audit committee. Now, yes, sir, we can take next question, sir.
Okay, Nisha. Yes, students, moving to next question. We will first do GST part and then we will break for 5 to 10 minutes and then we will do Ind AS part. Yes, this is simple question. I think we had discussed in last but one lecture. In fact, in last lecture, ITC related question. Sana wants to know if her company missed some invoices while claiming GST ITC. ये क्वेश्चन भी डिस्कस हुआ था, इसका थोड़ा सा पार्ट डिस्कस हुआ था. I suppose while claiming GST ITC, till what time that ITC can be claimed? कुछ invoices, students. A question, in fact, in last lecture we had done one question related to this, where some invoices were missed out in the month of January or February, and student had asked one question that, sir, can we take ITC in the next month when the invoice becomes available? So here is the same question. Sana wants to know if her company missed out some invoices while claiming GST ITC. Till what time that ITC can be claimed? She believes that the same may be taken till filing GSTR 3B return for the month of March of the concerned financial year. Sahana का belief क्या है, students? Yes, the same may be taken till filing GSTR 3B return for the month of March of the concerned financial year. Is her view appropriate? So, students, if you go to section 16 subsection 4, Nisha madam, please write down the section. Relevant section is section 16 subsection 4 of the GST law. इट स्टेट्स ए रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन, इसमें स्टूडेंट सिर्फ आपको सेक्शन 16(4) ही लिखना है और वो लिख के ये बताना है कि शाहना का व्यू करेक्ट है या नहीं है। और मेरे ख्याल से ईच एंड एवरी स्टूडेंट नोज अबाउट सेक्शन 16 सब सेक्शन 4। ए रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन, आई रीड आउट द सेक्शन। ए रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन shall not be entitled to take ITC in respect of any invoice or debit note for supply of goods or services or both after the 30th day of November. 30th, after the 30th day of November following the end of financial year. So निशा मैडम लिखना 30th November, 30th November following the end of financial year. Students, it means if my financial year is ending on 31st March 23, for example, 31st March 24 कर लेते हैं स्टूडेंट्स, या 31st March 23 कर लेते हैं, whatsoever. निशा मैडम, आप यू राइट डाउन 31st March 23. 31st March 23. तो लिमिट क्या है? आफ्टर, कहता है रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन शेल नॉट बी इंटाइटल्ड टू टेक आईटीसी इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ एनी इनवॉइस और डेबिट नोट फॉर सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स और सर्विसेज और बोथ आफ्टर 30th डे ऑफ नवंबर फॉलोइंग द एंड ऑफ फाइनेंशियल ईयर. एंड ऑफ फाइनेंशियल ईयर से यहाँ पे डैश लगा के लिखना निशा मैडम.
कहाँ पे
थर्टी
सर?
फर्स्ट मार्च 23 के आगे डैश लगा के. तो स्टूडेंट्स इससे आगे हमें जाना है और फॉलोइंग 30th डे ऑफ नवंबर, 30th नवंबर 23 लास्ट डेट होगी स्टूडेंट्स. मतलब लास्ट डे क्या होगा स्टूडेंट्स? 31st मार्च 23 के आगे जो 30th नवंबर आएगी, दैट विल बी द लास्ट डे फॉलोइंग द एंड ऑफ फाइनेंशियल ईयर टू विच सच इनवॉइस बिलोंग्स, pertains और फर्निशिंग ऑफ द, और या फिर और इसमें क्या है स्टूडेंट्स, और फर्निशिंग ऑफ द रेलेवेंट एनुअल रिटर्न विच एवर इज अर्लियर. ये आंसर पे ही चले जाओ निशा मैडम, वहां क्लियरली बात लिखी हुई है. आंसर टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 7. तो स्टूडेंट्स ये सिंपल क्वेश्चन है, इनफैक्ट लास्ट लेक्चर में भी इसका क्वेश्चन. तो ये 16 सेक्शन 16 सबसेक्शन 4 है स्टूडेंट्स. ये जो पहले बात लिखी हुई है, पहला पैरा, दिस इज बेसिकली सेक्शन 16 सबसेक्शन 4. ए रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन is not entitled to take ITC in respect of any invoice or debit note for supply of goods or services or both after the 30th day of November following the end of financial year. Means following the end of financial year means end of financial year is on, if end of financial year is on 31st March 23, तो उसकी डेट क्या होगी? 30th November 23 होगी लास्ट डेट. To which such invoice pertains means और फर्निशिंग ऑफ द एनुअल, या फिर दूसरी डेट क्या हो सकती है? फर्निशिंग ऑफ एनुअल रिटर्न. अगर आपने एनुअल रिटर्न पहले भर दी है तो फिर आप उस डेट को कंप्लाई करेंगे. विच एवर इज अर्लियर है स्टूडेंट्स, इसमें विच एवर इज अर्लियर को निशा मैडम अंडरलाइन कर देना. आई होप एवरी स्टूडेंट इज क्लियर विद दिस प्रोविजन. दिस इज सिंपल प्रोविजन. Thus, in accordance with the provisions, the view taken by Sahana that ITC of missed invoices may be taken till filing GSTR 3B return for the month of March of the concerned financial year is not correct. This view is not correct because it can be taken till 30th November or before furnishing of return, annual return, whichever is earlier. Yes. ITC of missed invoices can be taken till 30th of November following the end of financial year to which such invoice pertains or furnishing of annual return. अगर आपने annual return स्टूडेंट्स पहले फर्निश कर दिए, से आपने 20th of November तक फर्निश कर दिया, तो आपके लिए फिर 20th November लास्ट डेट हो जाएगा. तो दिस इज द आइडिया बिहाइंड. Yes, students. So we are yes till 30th November. Or yes, Namrata, you have rightly said. Got it. Yes, students. Now we are left with FR portion, India 36. That is question number one. We are left with, and question number uh, six.
Five.
We are left with question number one and six. So we will have break for 5 to 10 minutes, and then we will continue. Yes, break for 10 minutes.
And approval of the financial
Welcome back, students. Welcome back, students. Students, are you able to see the screen? Back, students. Yes, students, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Nisha, thank you. Yes, students, the India's part, which is there in the case study, it deals with India's 36. It deals with India's 36. India's 36 students. India's 36 some parts related to India's 36 I will like to explain first, and then we will go back to the case study. First of all, students, you see what impairment is. Students, first of all, what do you mean by impairment? Impairment means reduction in the earning capacity of the set. Reduction in the earning capacity of the set. I think each and every student has already understood this concept. Earning capacity of the asset. Impairment refers to reduction in earning capacity of the asset. And students, this question actually, the question which is given in the case study is talking about reversal, the questions which given in the study material, in the case study, is talking about reversal of impairment loss. So if we are talking of reversal of impairment loss, that is you can say a ticklish concept, and for that purpose I would like to explain reversal of impairment loss, uh, which is covered in the case study through one example. And students, the example is, you can note down the example. This is basically given in your study material also. Example is basically illustration number 10 of your study material. Illustration number 10 of your study material. The question, similar question is there in the case study. On 1st April 2011, देखो, I am sharing the data which is given in the question. On 1st April 2010, Venus Limited, this is question of your study material. You can note down. If you are having your study material with you, it's okay. If you are not having your study material with you, you can note down few points. On 1st April 2010, Venus Limited acquired 100% of Saturn Limited. 100% of Saturn Limited. And for rupees 4 lakhs. For rupees 4 lakhs. Fair value of net identifiable assets. Net identifiable असेट्स। ये स्टूडेंट्स थोड़ा सा आप नोट डाउन करोगे तो क्वेश्चन करने में फिर आपको अच्छा लगेगा। फेयर वैल्यू ऑफ नेट आइडेंटिफाइबल असेट्स इज 3,20,000 and fair value and goodwill value of goodwill was 80,000 rupees. And on 31st March 31st March, this is on 1st April 2011, sorry. And on 31st March 13, government, this is into mining business. The company is into Sechan Limited, is into mining business, and government cancelled its licenses. Cancelled its licenses in few states. In few states. So students, if you have noted up to this point, then I will rub this. Or if you are able to see in the study material. Yes, did you note, students? Did you note? Should I rub it? Yes, student, I am waiting for your answers. Are you having your FR study material with you? And if you are not having right now, okay, noted. Right, that's great. Yes, students, moving further. Further, in question it is given. In question it is given that Saturn Limited's revenue is estimated to get reduced by 30%. Its revenue, Saturn Limited, this is about Saturn Limited, its revenue is estimated to reduced by 30%. 30% reduction in revenue. Adverse change in marketplace and regulatory condition. This is indicator of impairment. Indicator of impairment. This is given in the question itself. Adverse change in marketplace and regulatory condition. Adverse change in marketplace and regulatory conditions. Adverse change in marketplace and regulatory condition. This is indicator of impairment. This is given in the question itself. As a result, Venus Limited has to estimate the recoverable amount of goodwill and net assets of Sechan Limited on 31st March 2013. As a result, Venus Limited has to estimate the recoverable amount of goodwill and the net assets of Saturn Limited on 31st March 13. Venus Limited uses straight line of depreciation. Useful life of assets, Saturn Limited assets, useful life is 20 years. and with no residual value. No independent cash inflows can be identified to any individual assets. So the entire operation of Saturn Limited is to be treated as CGU due to the regulatory entangle. Question में given है, it is not possible to determine the selling price is not possible, or value in use students is given. VIU means value in use. So important data you noted down. Value in use is 2,12,000. This is given in the question. Value in use. This is given in the question. Is 2,12,000. Yes, students, did you note? Then I should rub it. Yes, student, moving further. This is the question itself. Now on 31st March 15. Now on question, in the question it is given on 31st March 15. Government reinstates the licenses. Government reinstates. Government reinstates. Government has reinstated the license. जो गवर्नमेंट ने लाइसेंस कैंसिल किए थे स्टूडेंट्स, वो रीइंस्टेट कर दिए. मींस क्वेश्चन इज आस्किंग यू दैट दिस इंफॉर्मेशन इज गिवन अबाउट reversal of impairment loss. It means reversal of impairment loss is there. Reversal of impairment loss is there. And the management expects a favorable change in net cash flows. This is an indicator that impairment loss may have been reversed, and recoverable amount of net assets is re-estimated. Value in use. This is data of 31st March 15. Value in use is given as, value in use is expected to be 3,04,000, and fair value less cost to disposal is 2,90,000. This is the data given in the question. So students, if you have noted down the data which is given in the question, then we can move to the answer. Yes, this is illustration number 10, which is given in the study material itself. Ind AS 36. Yes, students. Now, reversal of impairment loss. You note down the steps in which we will do this question. Yes, students. First, we will calculate answer. Moving to the answer. Calculation of impairment loss of Saturn Limited. गुडविल, गुडविल कितनी दी हुई है क्वेश्चन में स्टूडेंट्स? एंड अदर असेट्स, गुडविल, अदर असेट्स एंड टोटल। पहला स्टेप स्टूडेंट्स होता है स्टेप वन। स्टेप वन इज कैरिंग वैल्यू। स्टेप वन इज कैरिंग वैल्यू। एंड कैरिंग वैल्यू स्टूडेंट्स, कैरिंग वैल्यू on 31st March 2011 is given, and first we will arrive at the carrying value as on 31st March 13. We will arrive at the carrying value as on 31st March 2013. Carrying value to arrive at, to achieve step one students, historical cost, ये नीचे मैं I will draw a line, and below this line I will arrive at the carrying value of 31st March 2013. Historical cost is given. Historical cost is given of 31st March 11, that is 80,000. And other assets, it is 3,20,000. And total is 4 lakhs. Less students, अब यहां पर क्या करेंगे? Less we will do accumulated depreciation. We will minus accumulated depreciation of 2 years, 3,20,000 divided by, in the question itself it is given, that Saturn Limited's assets are estimated to be 20 years with no residual value. So divided by 25, divided by 20 into 2 years. So it will come out 32,000, and goodwill is not subject to amortization, 2,88,000. And if I subtract this is 3,68,000. So students, this is the value, carrying value on 31st March 2013. 80,000, goodwill 80,000, other assets 2,88,000, and total is 3,68,000. So this is step one we have completed. Step one is carrying value on 31st March 2013, and carrying value on 31st March 2013 is arrived at below this line. We have done it below this line. Below this line. This is calculated as under. I hope it is clear. Yes, student, are you clear with this till now? Step 2, students. Ind AS 36, if you go to Ind AS 36, step 2 is recoverable value. Recoverable value. This is recoverable value, students. What is recoverable value? This is higher of the two value in use or fair value less cost to disposal, whichever is higher. And that is given in the question itself. Value in use is given in the question as on 31st March 2013. That is 2,12,000. Value in use is given in the question, that is 2,12,000. Step 1 minus step 2, we will arrive at impairment loss. Impairment loss is equal to 3,68,000 minus 2,12,000, and this is 1,56,000. 1,56,000. 3,60,000, 68,000 minus 2,12,000 is equal to 1,56,000. This is impairment loss, and this is step 3. So students, step 1 is carrying value on 31st March 2013. Step 2 is recoverable value, which is value in use, which is given in the question. And step 3 is impairment loss. Impairment loss students क्या होता है? Carrying value minus recoverable value. Carrying value minus recoverable value is impairment loss. Yes, any doubt, any student? So we have arrived at impairment loss. Now students, step 4. Yes, should I rub it, students? Now impairment loss is 1,56,000. I will in step 4. In step 4, I will allocate the impairment loss, which is 1,56,000. I will allocate the impairment loss between goodwill and other assets. So how much impairment loss will be allocated to goodwill and how much impairment loss will be allocated to other assets? Can anyone student tell? Shankara, what you are asking, sir, recoverable value, you said something, which value should be taken? Recoverable value, students, are you clear with the concept of recoverable value, Shankara? Or should I explain that also? Shankara, I am asking you, are you clear with the concept of recoverable value or you are not clear with this? Yes, I am waiting for your answer. Please explain, sir. Okay, I will explain. Yes, students, please note down the concept of recoverable value. Impairment क्या होता है स्टूडेंट्स? Before explaining the recoverable value, students, impairment means reduction in the earning capacity of the asset. Reduction in the earning capacity of the asset. Shankara, you just note down what is impairment. Impairment is reduction in the earning capacity of the asset. And now, if an asset is if an asset is reflecting in its books, if an asset is being reflected in its books and its carrying value, first, before I come to recoverable value, before I explain the recoverable value, I will explain the, just 1 minute. Impairment is equal to carrying amount, carrying value. This is ledger balance of the set. Carrying value क्या होता है students? Ledger balance of the set means in easy language WDV of the set, written down value of the set, at which asset is stated in the balance sheet. Carrying value is the set at which asset is stated in the balance sheet. Stated in the balance sheet. This is carrying value. Means, in other words, ledger balance. Ledger balance of the set. Means historical cost minus depreciation. This is the carrying value. And if I carrying value में से स्टूडेंट्स अगर मैं माइनस कर दूं, दिस इज माइनस, रिकवरेबल वैल्यू को माइनस कर दूं, रिकवरेबल वैल्यू को अगर माइनस कर दूं तो स्टूडेंट्स मेरे पास क्या बचेगा? इंपेयरमेंट. दैट इज इंपेयरमेंट. एंड एज आई टोल्ड यू दैट इंपेयरमेंट इज reduction in earning capacity of the asset. If the earning capacity of the asset goes down, it means there is impairment. Means carrying value minus recoverable. Now, what is recoverable value? This is the question before us. Recoverable value, students. This is recoverable value is recoverable value is fair value minus less cost to disposal, less cost to disposal, cost of disposal. Means in first you need to arrive at fair value less cost to disposal. Means in easy language, estimated, this is estimated selling price, estimated selling price of the set minus estimated selling expenses, estimated selling expenses. So students, this is very important to understand. This is fair value less cost to disposal I am explaining. For understanding recoverable value, you need to understand two terms. First is fair value less cost of disposal, which means in easy language, estimated selling price minus estimated selling expenses, and you will arrive at net selling price. नेट सेलिंग प्राइस. इसे मैं आसान भाषा में, इजी लैंग्वेज में कह सकता हूं नेट सेलिंग प्राइस. नेट सेलिंग प्राइस, फेयर वैल्यू लेस कॉस्ट टू डिस्पोजल को मैं कहता हूं नेट सेलिंग प्राइस. इसका एग्जांपल देता हूं स्टूडेंट्स. Say I have a car value at 15 lakh rupees. मेरे पास कार है स्टूडेंट्स, वैल्यू ऑफ द कार इज 15 lakh rupees. Yeah, cost of the car is 15 lakh rupees. And sell, if I sell in the market, net selling price after expenses, if I sell in the market, it will be sold at say 12 lakh rupees. तो उसकी नेट सेलिंग प्राइस फेयर वैल्यू लेस कॉस्ट टू डिस्पोजल विल बी 12 लाख रुपीज. फेयर वैल्यू लेस कॉस्ट टू डिस्पोजल. तो मैं कह सकता हूं उसकी रिकवरेबल वैल्यू एंड वैल्यू इन यूज. अनदर टर्म इज वैल्यू इन यूज. वो भी मैं एक्सप्लेन करूंगा आपको स्टूडेंट्स. अभी आप वैल्यू इन यूज को भूल जाएं. तो इसकी रिकवरेबल वैल्यू कितनी है स्टूडेंट्स? रिकवरेबल वैल्यू, कार्स रिकवरेबल वैल्यू इज 12 लाख रुपीज. कार्स रिकवरेबल वैल्यू इज 12 लाख रुपीज. अभी वैल्यू इन यूज को आप भूल जाइए. सो फेयर वैल्यू इसकी. अब कैरिंग अमाउंट, इफ द कैरिंग अमाउंट ऑफ द कार, कैरिंग अमाउंट माइनस रिकवरेबल वैल्यू is its impairment. Carrying amount, if the car's carrying amount is say 14 lakhs or 13 lakhs and its recoverable value is 12 lakh, then difference is impairment. Now the another factor in recoverable value is recoverable value is equal to net selling price. वो मैंने अभी आपको एक्सप्लेन किया, जैसे कार के केस में 12 लाख थी, और नेट सेलिंग प्राइस और वैल्यू इन यूज. वैल्यू इन यूज whichever is higher. Whichever is higher. Net selling price or value in use, whichever is higher. अब स्टूडेंट्स वैल्यू इन यूज क्या होती है? वैल्यू इन यूज क्या होती है? नाउ वैल्यू इन यूज, वैल्यू इन यूज स्टूडेंट्स होती है प्रेजेंट वैल्यू, प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ फ्यूचर कैश इनफ्लोस. फ्यूचर कैश इनफ्लोस. प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ फ्यूचर कैश इनफ्लोस. वैल्यू इन यूज is equal to present value of cash inflows. Present value of cash inflows. अब स्टूडेंट्स प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ कैश इनफ्लोस, तो if you get the cash inflows, means in easy terms, how much this asset, how much this asset will give me earning over a period of time, over a number of years, how much of cash inflows this asset will give me over a period of years, over a period of time, that is called value in use. कि असेट मुझे कमा के कितना देगी, असेट मुझे कमा के कितना देगी. प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ फ्यूचर कैश इनफ्लोज. तो इसमें स्टूडेंट्स प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ फ्यूचर कैश इनफ्लोज हम कैसे निकालते हैं? इसको हम डिस्काउंटिंग रेट से मल्टीप्लाई करके और नंबर ऑफ ईयर्स, नंबर ऑफ ईयर्स और डिस्काउंटिंग रेट से मल्टीप्लाई करके, मल्टीप्लाई जो फैक्टर आएगा उससे मल्टीप्लाई करके हम उसकी अर्निंग कैपेसिटी निकाल लेते हैं. तो डिस्काउंटिंग फैक्टर, वैल्यू इफ असेट इज यूज्ड इन द बिजनेस एंड नॉट सोल्ड. दिस इज वैल्यू इफ द असेट इज यूज्ड इन द बिजनेस एंड इट इज नॉट सोल्ड. तो आई होप यू हैव अंडरस्टूड द कंसेप्ट कि असेट आपको कितना कमा के देगी, और बिकॉज वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू सेल द असेट. तो वैल्यू इन यूज स्टूडेंट्स, रिकवरेबल वैल्यू इज नेट सेलिंग प्राइस और वैल्यू इन यूज विच एवर इज हायर, विच एवर इज हायर, ये लेना है आपको। अब वैल्यू इन यूज स्टूडेंट्स, इंडेक्स 36, आप एक बार जाके कंप्लीट कंसेप्ट देखेंगे ना, प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ कैश इनफ्लोज, तो आपको ये समझ में आएगा क्या होता है। तो अभी मैं, क्योंकि बिकॉज उस डिटेल में नहीं जा रहा हूं कि आपको, अभी स्टूडेंट ने पूछा था कि रिकवरेबल वैल्यू ही क्या होती है। तो रिकवरेबल वैल्यू इज नेट सेलिंग प्राइस और वैल्यू इन यूज विच एवर इज हायर होता है। आई होप इट इज क्लियर स्टूडेंट्स। यस शंकरा, आर यू क्लियर विद द कंसेप्ट? शंकरा, आर यू क्लियर विद द कंसेप्ट रिकवरेबल वैल्यू? अंडरस्टूड, ओके। ओके, तो लेट मी मूव हेड वेयर आई हैड लेफ्ट। एक बार आप इंडिया 36 में जाके ये दोनों चीजें अच्छी तरह से कर लेना, बिकॉज ये इसी कंसेप्ट पर सारा आपको तभी समझ में आएगा अगर आप ये रिकवरेबल वैल्यू को अच्छी तरह से समझ लेंगे। यस, गोइंग अहेड स्टूडेंट्स, आई हैड, मैंने स्टेप 4 पे था मैं। स्टेप 4 वाज कि इंपेयरमेंट लॉस, एलोकेशन ऑफ इंपेयरमेंट लॉस। ये स्टूडेंट्स यहां पे मैंने क्वेश्चन छोड़ा था, एलोकेशन ऑफ इंपेयरमेंट लॉस। 1,56,000 का इंपेयरमेंट लॉस था स्टूडेंट्स। अब मेरा क्वेश्चन आपसे था कि इंपेयरमेंट लॉस हम गुडविल और अदर असेट्स में कैसे डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे, एलोकेशन ऑफ इंपेयरमेंट लॉस कैसे होगा, ये मैंने पूछा था। यस, एनी स्टूडेंट? यस, नम्रता, यू हैव राइटली आंसर्ड, नम्रता हैज राइटली आंसर्ड। यस, एनी अदर स्टूडेंट? स्टूडेंट्स, व्हेन इंपेयरमेंट इज देयर, तो जितना भी आपका लॉस आएगा, जितना भी आपका लॉस आएगा, 1,56,000 लॉस आया, तो फर्स्ट इट विल बी एलोकेटेड टुवर्ड्स गुडविल। पूरी गुडविल आप पहले राइट ऑफ कर दीजिए, गुडविल आपकी पहले, फर्स्ट इट विल ईट अप योर गुडविल एंड देन इट विल बी एलोकेटेड टुवर्ड्स अदर असेट्स। तो अदर असेट्स के लिए मेरे पास बचेगा यहां पे डिफरेंस बिटवीन 156 एंड 88, 80,000। yes, it will be 76,000. So 76,000 will be allocated to other assets out of, तो यहां पे जर्नल एंट्री स्टूडेंट्स होगी आपकी इंपेयरमेंट लॉस अकाउंट डेबिट टू गुडविल टू अदर असेट्स। जर्नल एंट्री विल बी impairment loss debit to goodwill. Yes, we need to write off 100% goodwill first. Yedu Kondlu Chitala, you rightly said we need to write off 100% goodwill first, because impairment is there, then goodwill has no meaning, because asset has already impaired and then goodwill doesn't mean anything. So goodwill becomes meaningless in that case. That's why we write off goodwill 100 to the extent of 100%. Yes. So journal entry students will be impairment loss debit to goodwill to other assets. Yes, step 5. Yes. Now step 5 is, कैश वैल्यू, कैरिंग वैल्यू आफ्टर इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस, आफ्टर impairment loss. Yes, students, what will be the carrying value after impairment loss? Now, carrying value after impairment loss is 3,68,000 was the value. 3,68,000 was the value minus 1,56,000. So carrying value after impairment will be 2,12,000. I hope I am clear. It will be 2,12,000. Student, this is carrying value after impairment loss. This is the carrying value as on 31st March 13. As on 31st March 13 हमारी carrying value आ जाएगी 2,12,000. तो यहां तक तो स्टूडेंट्स क्वेश्चन बिल्कुल सिंपल है. मैंने अभी कैरिंग वैल्यू क्वेश्चन मैंने सबसे पहले आपको फैक्ट्स बताए थे और फैक्ट्स के बेस पे वो आपने अगर नोट डाउन कर लिए हैं तो आपको आसान रहेगा समझना. यस, इज एवरीबॉडी क्लियर विद दिस अप टू दिस? यस स्टूडेंट्स, आप क्लियर हो गए यहां तक? Yes, I am waiting for your response, students. Are you clear up to this point? Carrying value after impairment loss on 31st March 13. ये 2,12,000 आ गया आपका. Yes, I am waiting for your response, students. Yes, Namrata is saying yes. Yadu Kodlu Chitala is saying yes, sir. Okay. Yes, students, moving forward. अभी जो लास्ट पार्ट जो कि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है स्टूडेंट्स, इसका लास्ट पार्ट इज मोर टिकलिश एंड इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट जो मैंने आपको फैक्ट्स लिखवाए हैं उसके बेस पे. मूविंग टू द लास्ट पार्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. यहां तक तो अभी हमने स्टूडेंट्स, अब ये हमारा स्टेप जो 5 था वो स्टेप 1 बन जाएगा. अगर मैं रिवर्सल ऑफ इंपेयरमेंट लॉस की बात करूंगा तो वहां पे स्टेप 1 बन जाएगा. दिस इज नाउ वी वांट लेजर बैलेंस of other assets on 31st March 15. Ledger balance of other assets because goodwill has been written off on 31st March 15. Ledger balance of other assets on 31st March 15. कैरिंग अमाउंट स्टूडेंट्स यहां पे अभी हमने निकाला था. कैरिंग अमाउंट ऑन 31st March 13 अभी अभी हमने निकाला था. वी हैड अराइव्ड एट शॉर्टली 2,12,000. This was carrying amount after impairment loss. This is carrying amount after impairement loss. Now less, if we subtract out of this accumulated depreciation for 2 years, because we want value on 31st March 15. Ledger balance स्टूडेंट्स ये आफ्टर इंपेयरमेंट था. इंपेयरमेंट हमारा हो चुका था सेट का और now the further depreciation will be computed on 2,12,000 and 2,12,000 divided by क्या करेंगे स्टूडेंट्स? डिवाइडेड बाय क्या करेंगे? डिवाइडेड बाय बिकॉज टोटल नंबर ऑफ इयर्स यूजफुल लाइफ उसकी थी 20 years minus 2 years have already gone. Again 2 years have already gone. फ्रॉम 13 टू 15, तो ये हो जाएगा आपका डिवाइडेड बाय 18 इंटू 2 years. So this, for ease of calculation, rounded off. This is rounded off 2000, nearest thousand to nearest thousand. तो ये आएगा आपका 24,000 and balance will be 1,88,000. Yes, any doubt on this? This is ledger balance. This is step one, ledger balance. Ledger balance of other asset on 31st March 15. This is step one. अब स्टूडेंट्स क्वेश्चन में देखो क्या हुआ है। कहता है सपोज बाय 31st March 15 द गवर्नमेंट रीइंस्टेट्स द लाइसेंस ऑफ। अब गवर्नमेंट ने जो आपका लाइसेंस कैंसिल किया था वो रीइंस्टेट कर दिया। इट मींस द मैनेजमेंट एक्सपेक्ट्स ए फेवरेबल चेंज इन द नेट कैश फ्लोज। दिस इज एन इंडिकेटर दैट इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस मे हैव रिवर्स्ड। तो इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस आपका रिवर्स हो गया। द रिकवरेबल अमाउंट ऑफ Saturn's net asset is re-estimated. Value in use is, अब क्वेश्चन में दोनों फिगर्स दिए देखो। वैल्यू इन यूज इज 3,04,000 एंड फेयर वैल्यू लेस कॉस्ट टू डिस्पोजल इज 2,90,000 ऑन 31st March 15। तो स्टूडेंट्स अब ये हमारा डाटा यूज होगा, तो इसको आगे बढ़ा रहा हूं मैं, क्वेश्चन को स्टेप 2 पे लेके जा रहा हूं। ये स्टेप 2 इज Step 2 is calculation of carrying value. CV means carrying value. स्टूडेंट्स ये मानते हुए हम कैलकुलेशन करेंगे कि जैसे इंपेयरमेंट हुआ ही नहीं था, इग्नोरिंग इंपेयरमेंट, क्योंकि बिकॉज नाउ वी आर टॉकिंग ऑफ रिवर्सल ऑफ इंपेयरमेंट लॉस। इंपेयरमेंट लॉस जो हमारा हो गया था उसका रिवर्सल, वो कैसे, उसकी क्या काउंटिंग होगी। तो कैलकुलेशन ऑफ कैरिंग वैल्यू इग्नोरिंग इंपेयरमेंट, की इंपेयरमेंट अगर हुआ ही ना होता तो हमारी हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट थी 3,20,000। 3,20,000 और कितने साल बीत गए 11 के बाद, 4 years है ऑलरेडी गॉन। तो डिवाइडेड बाय 20 इंटू 4 years, क्योंकि मुझे 31 मार्च 15 को चाहिए ये कैलकुलेशन। डाटा क्वेश्चन में दिया 31 मार्च 15 का, तो माइनस करूंगा मैं यहाँ पे 64,000 और यहां पे मुझे इग्नोरिंग इंपेयरमेंट, बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है स्टूडेंट की, इग्नोरिंग इंपेयरमेंट। देखो आप, इग्नोरिंग इंपेयरमेंट, तो अगर मैं इंपेयरमेंट को इग्नोर कर देता हूं तो वैल्यू कुड हैव बीन 2,56,000 मेरी आज सेट होती अगर इंपेयरमेंट ना हुआ होता तो। सो 2,56,000, इट वुड हैव बीन 2,56,000 हैड देयर बीन नो इंपेयरमेंट। और इंपेयरमेंट क्योंकि हो गया है तो वैल्यू क्या थी, 1,88,000 थी। अभी मैंने आपको बताया स्टेप 1 में वैल्यू क्या थी। स्टेप 1 वैल्यू क्या थी आपकी, स्टेप 1 में वैल्यू आपकी थी 1,88,000। दिस इज लेजर बैलेंस। ये कब मैं निकाल रहा हूं स्टूडेंट्स, 31 मार्च 15 को, क्योंकि 31 मार्च 15 का क्यों हम ले रहे हैं, बिकॉज रिवर्सल ऑफ इंपेयरमेंट इज देयर। नाउ स्टेप 2 अभी मैंने आपको समझाया क्या था, इग्नोरिंग इंपेयरमेंट, कैरिंग वैल्यू इग्नोरिंग इंपेयरमेंट, ये भी हमने निकाला 2,56,000। स्टेप 3, अब मेरे को आप अभी ईमेल पे बताओ स्टेप 3 इज रिकवरेबल वैल्यू क्या है। रिकवरेबल वैल्यू क्या है स्टूडेंट्स, रिकवरेबल वैल्यू, क्योंकि रिकवरेबल वैल्यू अगर ज्यादा हो जाएगी तो इंपेयरमेंट आपका रिवर्स होएगा। यस, ये स्टूडेंट्स, रिकवरेबल वैल्यू क्वेश्चन में गिवन है, मैंने आपको डाटा पहले लिखवाया था। यस, टेल मी कितनी है रिकवरेबल वैल्यू। यस, आई एम वेटिंग। यस, एनी स्टूडेंट? यस, प्लीज टेल मी रिकवरेबल वैल्यू। और अभी मैंने आपको 3,04,000, 3,04,000 दो डाटा दिए ना, 290 भी दिया मेरे ख्याल से, और 3,04,000, विच एवर इज हायर। वेरी गुड, 3,04,000। नम्रता, यू हैव करेक्टली आंसर्ड। तो 3,04,000। अभी मैं इसमें दो क्वेश्चन आपको समझा दूंगा। केस स्टडी में दो क्वेश्चन दिए हुए हैं, दोनों क्वेश्चन आपको क्रिस्टल क्लियर हो जाएंगे अगर आप ये क्वेश्चन समझ गए तो। सो रिकवरेबल वैल्यू 3,04,000। दिस इज स्टेप 3। स्टेप 4 is maximum possible ledger balance would have been. This is lower of 2 and 3, lower of step 2 and 3, lower of step 2 and 3। स्टेप 2 और 3 में स्टूडेंट लोअर कौन है? 2,56,000। सो मैक्सिमम पॉसिबल लेजर बैलेंस, देखो आपकी, प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, यहां सबसे बड़ा टिकलिश पॉइंट है। आपको समझना है कि मेरी आफ्टर इंपेयरमेंट वैल्यू थी 1,88,000। अगर मैं इंपेयरमेंट को इग्नोर कर, इंपेयरमेंट मानो कि हुआ ही ना होता, इफ इंपेयरमेंट वुड नॉट हैव बीन देयर, तो मेरी वैल्यू 2,56,000 हो सकती थी, मतलब ज्यादा हो सकती थी वैल्यू। और रिकवरेबल वैल्यू 3,04,000 है। रिकवरेबल वैल्यू कितनी है? 3,04,000। तो क्या मैक्सिमम पॉसिबल स्टूडेंट्स, आज इंपेयरमेंट हुआ ही ना होता तो वैल्यू तो 2,56,000 ही तो होती। तो इसलिए स्टूडेंट्स यहां पे मैक्सिमम पॉसिबल लेजर बैलेंस वुड हैव बीन ओनली 2,56,000। इससे ज्यादा हो ही नहीं सकता, इससे ज्यादा हो ही नहीं सकता। इसका मतलब स्टेप 5 अगर मैं करूं, स्टेप 5 अगर करूं, स्टेप 5 वुड बी रिवर्सल ऑफ रिपेयरमेंट, इम्पेयरमेंट, रिवर्सल ऑफ इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस। तो मैक्सिमम कितना हो सकता है स्टूडेंट्स रिवर्सल? रिवर्सल मैक्सिमम हो सकता है स्टूडेंट्स 2,56,000 से ज्यादा रिवर्सल यहां तक हो सकता है, इस वैल्यू तक रिवर्सल हो सकता है। और 256 माइनस 188, 256 माइनस 68,000 स्टूडेंट्स यहां पे मैक्सिमम रिवर्सल हो सकता है। रिवर्सल ऑफ इंपेयरमेंट लॉस मैक्सिमम 68, बिकॉज कैरिंग अमाउंट जो है आपका, हैड देयर बीन नो रिवर्सल, हैड देयर बीन नो इंपेयरमेंट, हैड देयर बीन इग्नोरिंग इंपेयरमेंट, जो आपका कैरिंग अमाउंट है उससे ज्यादा, उस वैल्यू तक आप ला सकते हो इंपेयरमेंट लॉस को रिवर्स करके। इससे ज्यादा आप नहीं ला सकते, बिकॉज आपका लेजर बैलेंस, हैड देयर बीन नो इंपेयरमेंट, आपका लेजर बैलेंस 2,56,000 होता। तो इससे ज्यादा कभी भी आपका रिवर्सल नहीं हो सकता। ये स्टूडेंट्स, आर यू क्लियर विद दिस? अप टू दिस आपको क्लियर है स्टूडेंट्स? यस निशा मैडम।
Yes, sir.
एंड नाउ यू कैन शेयर द केस स्टडी।
Yes, sir.
Yes, students.
Yes.
Nisha madam, you can come to the related part in the case study, relevant part in the case study. Show the relevant part in the case study. ये स्टूडेंट्स आप इजीली, अगर आपने ये वाली बात समझ ली है स्टूडेंट्स, तो अब आप आसानी से बिल्कुल समझ जाएंगे क्वेश्चन को. ऑन 1 अप्रैल 22 सा फैशन लिमिटेड acquired 100% of Spun Limited for 5 lakhs, which was into cotton spinning business. फेयर वैल्यू जो है वो 4.5 लाख है और गुडविल 0.5 lakhs है. और 31 मार्च 24 को गवर्नमेंट चेंज इट्स पॉलिसी ऑन टेक्सटाइल सेक्टर्स हैविंग एडवर्स इंपैक्ट ऑन बिजनेस ऑफ कंपनीज लाइक स्पन मिल लिमिटेड. और इंटरनल डिस्कशन से पता लगा कि गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज indicate that revenue of Spun Limited is estimated to fall by 20% in coming 3 to 5 years. Adverse effect on marketplace, ये सारा क्या इम्पेयरमेंट के इंडिकेटर्स होते हैं. आपको अगर आप देखोगे तो दीज आर द इंडिकेटर्स ऑफ इम्पेयरमेंट. यस. और सा लिमिटेड यूजेस, ये सारा वही है जो मैंने आपको फैक्ट्स लिखवाए हैं, सिर्फ फिगर्स चेंज हैं. तो आप देखोगे सिर्फ फिगर्स चेंज है, फैक्ट्स सारे वही हैं स्टूडेंट्स. कैन यू अप्रिशिएट दिस? यस. निशा मैडम आंसर पे आ जाना.
Yes, sir.
तो क्वेश्चन में जो डाटा है वो 3,02,000 स्टूडेंट्स. चलो ठीक है, डाटा क्लियर है स्टूडेंट्स को. आंसर आप विद जो रीजन दिखाया है ना उस पे आ जाना निशा मैडम.
हाँ सर.
डिटेल्ड आंसर पे सेकंड का, क्योंकि बिकॉज मैंने इनको डिटेल में समझा दिया स्टूडेंट्स को, बहुत डिटेल में जाके समझाया है. तो टू का स्टूडेंट्स आंसर क्या है? देखो डी आंसर है, कैलकुलेशन ऑफ इंपेयरमेंट लॉस. हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट गुडविल की क्वेश्चन में दी हुई है और अदर असेट्स 4.5 लैक्स है, टोटल 5 लाख है. एक्यूमुलेटेड डेप्रिसिएशन 2 इयर्स का, जैसे आपको मैंने बताया था 31 मार्च या 24 तक का आ जाएगा. एक्यूमुलेटेड लॉस जो है वो यहाँ पे स्टूडेंट्स एक्यूमुलेटेड डेप्रिसिएशन, सॉरी, तो 2 इयर्स का डेप्रिसिएशन यहाँ पे आएगा. 4.5 15 इयर्स टोटल लाइफ है और इनटू 2 इयर्स का डेप्रिसिएशन आ जाएगा. और आपका कैरिंग अमाउंट 0.5 गुडविल का और 3.9 अदर असेट्स का और 4.5 टोटल हो गया इनका. अब स्टूडेंट्स रिवाइज थोड़ा सा ऊपर करना स्क्रीन को, ताकि मैं नीचे दिखा दूं स्टूडेंट्स को इंपेयरमेंट लॉस. हाँ यस, बस 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 बस. रिवाइज्ड कैरिंग अमाउंट, इंपेयरमेंट लॉस इज कैरिंग अमाउंट माइनस रिकवरेबल अमाउंट. रिकवरेबल अमाउंट यहाँ पे 3,20,000 3,02,000 है. यहाँ पे थोड़ा करेक्ट कर लेना स्टूडेंट्स. 3.02 करना निशा मैडम इसे, ये क्वेश्चन में गिवन है स्टूडेंट्स. यहाँ थोड़ा सा करेक्शन है, करेक्ट कर लेना. कैरिंग अमाउंट माइनस रिकवरेबल अमाउंट, दिस इज 3.02 कर देना निशा मैडम इसे. 3.2 लिखा है ना?
Yes, sir. Done, sir. 3.0.
02 लिख दो इसे.
02. Okay.
हाँ 02. हाँ 4.4 माइनस 3.02 is equal to 1.38 is charged in statement of P&L for the period. This is impairment loss is allocated first to goodwill and remaining loss of 88,000 as impairment loss is allocated to other assets. दिखाना ऊपर, दिखाना निशा मैडम. So this is how it is allocated. हाँ 0.5 पहले देखो सारा 1.38 का हमारा टोटल इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस हुआ. और गुडविल को हमने सारा एलोकेटेड. गुडविल इज फर्स्ट रिटर्न ऑफ टू द एक्सटेंट ऑफ 100% एंड बैलेंस इज एलोकेटेड टू अदर असेट्स. और बैलेंस कितना बचा? 88,000, वो हमने अदर असेट्स को एलोकेट कर दिया. तो अब देखो आंसर क्या है आपका. आंसर पे आना निशा मैडम, क्वेश्चन पे, सॉरी क्वेश्चन पे. Yes. What is the amount of impairment loss which Saha Fashion Limited is required to transfer to statement of P&L and how the same should be allocated? So इसका अब हमारा लॉस इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस हमें पता है कितना है, 1,38,000 हमारा है, और 1,98,000 तो है ही नहीं ना वन ए में, ए ऑप्शन में। हाँ, बी ऑप्शन देखते हैं। इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस इज 1,38,000 एंड द सेम शुड बी एलोकेटेड टू गुडविल एंड अदर असेट्स। प्रोपोर्शनेटली नहीं होता स्टूडेंट्स, बी देखो। निशा मैडम बी ऑप्शन में देखो प्रोपोर्शनेटली लिखा है, इसको अंडरलाइन करना, तो प्रोपोर्शनेटली इसको क्रॉस कर दो अंडरलाइन करके। ये प्रोपोर्शनेटली स्टूडेंट्स नहीं होता। फर्स्ट इट इज एलोकेटेड टुवर्ड्स गुडविल एंड द बैलेंस टुवर्ड्स अदर असेट्स। तो थर्ड ऑप्शन में तो 1,68,000 है, तो वैसे गलत हो गया। और लास्ट ऑप्शन आपका देखो, impairment loss is 1,38,000 and the same should be allocated first to goodwill and then the balance to other assets. So this is how students we have done. तो ये मैंने आपको इवन रिवर्सल का भी सारा जो था वो क्वेश्चन कराया है, जो आपको इलुस्ट्रेशन नंबर 10 है स्टूडेंट्स आपके स्टडी मटेरियल में। इलुस्ट्रेशन नंबर 10 एट पेज नंबर है 6.175। तो मैं सभी स्टूडेंट्स को, आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल स्टूडेंट्स to please do that question seriously, and if any query related to it will be there, I will handle in the next lecture. अगर फिर भी आपकी कोई क्वेरी रह जाएगी तो मैं नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में उसे देख लूंगा। Yes, you can move to the question which is asked on impairment, theoretical question, Nisha madam, 6. So Sana is intrigued by the concept of impairment and wants to understand if an asset once impaired, can it be reversed? तो रिवर्स हो सकता है स्टूडेंट, लेकिन कैरिंग अमाउंट तक रिवर्स होगा। हैड देयर बीन नो इम्पेयरमेंट, रिवर्स हो सकता है लेकिन कैरिंग अमाउंट तक रिवर्स होगा। हैड देयर बीन, एज्यूमिंग दैट देयर वाज नो इम्पेयरमेंट फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग। इन दिस कंटेक्स्ट एक्सप्लेन इन ब्रीफ द अकाउंटिंग फॉर रिवर्सल ऑफ इम्पेयरमेंट और सोर्स ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन विच, और इंडिकेटर्स बताओ आपके, विच इंडिकेट्स रिवर्सल ऑफ इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस। तो ये मैंने आपको सारा क्वेश्चन के थ्रू ही करा दिया है, अकाउंटिंग ट्रीटमेंट सारा मैंने आपको समझाया। तो आप एक बार इसको रीड आउट करेंगे स्टूडेंट्स, आंसर पे आ जाना निशा मैम। तो स्टूडेंट्स इसका तो मैंने आपको प्रैक्टिकली ही करके, तभी थोड़ा सा ज्यादा टाइम लगाया, नो डाउट। मैंने मैंने इसलिए ज्यादा टाइम लगाया ताकि आपको इसकी काउंटिंग प्रैक्टिकली समझ में आ जाए। Yes, students, did you understand the question clearly? Yes, I am waiting for your answers. Did you understand the question I was trying to explain fully? Yes, I am waiting, students, so that I can move to the theoretical part, क्योंकि थ्योरी वही लिखी हुई है जो मैंने आपको समझाया है। Yes, students, you are not replying. Yes, students, did you understand through question कि रिवर्सल ऑफ इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस क्या होता है? Yes. Okay. Yes, sir. Good, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yes. Thanks for the feedback. Accounting for reversal of impairment. Increased carrying amount of an asset other than goodwill. रिवर्सल स्टूडेंट्स कभी भी गुडविल, अब देखो अदर देन गुडविल, यहां पे अदर देन गुडविल क्यों लिखा है? इंक्रीज्ड कैरिंग अमाउंट ऑफ एन एसेट attributable to a reversal of an impairment loss shall not exceed the carrying amount that would have been determined had no impairment loss been recognized for the set in prior years. ये मानते हुए स्टूडेंट्स, had no impairment loss been recognized for the, निशा मैडम ये अंडरलाइन करना, had no impairment loss been recognized for the set in prior years। तो ये बहुत, आप ये मानते इंक्रीज कैरिंग अमाउंट ऑफ एन एसेट attributable to a reversal of an impairment loss shall not exceed, किससे ज्यादा नहीं होगा? द कैरिंग अमाउंट दैट वुड हैव बीन डिटरमिन्ड हैड नो इम्पेयरमेंट। मैंने अभी आपको बताया 2,56,000 तक की आप उसको कर सकते हैं, तो रिवर्सल आपका। लेकिन आप जो है गुडविल रिवर्सल जो होता है वो कभी गुडविल पे एलोकेशन नहीं होगा उसका, ये ध्यान रखना। क्योंकि बिकॉज गुडविल दोबारा से हम गुडविल की वैल्यू अप्रिशिएट नहीं, रिवर्सल गुडविल की को एट्रीब्यूटेबल नहीं होता। वाई इट इज नॉट एट्रीब्यूटेबल टू गुडविल? बिकॉज गुडविल जो है सेल्फ जनरेटेड गुडविल इज नेवर रिफ्लेक्टेड इन द, क्योंकि बिकॉज रिवर्सल जो होता है इंपेयरमेंट लॉस का स्टूडेंट्स, वो सेल्फ एफर्ट से होता है, सेल्फ एफर्ट से होता है। और सेल्फ एफर्ट्स जो है सेल्फ जनरेटेड गुडविल हो जाती है, और सेल्फ जनरेटेड गुडविल कभी भी बुक्स का पार्ट नहीं होती। तो वो आपको अच्छी तरह से, इसलिए अदर देन गुडविल यहां पे लिखा हुआ है। सो एनी इंक्रीज इन एक्सेस ऑफ दिस अमाउंट वुड बी ए रिवैल्यूएशन। एनी इंक्रीज, और इससे ज्यादा अगर कुछ हो जाता है, मान लिया अभी मैं आपको कह रहा था 2,56,000 से ज्यादा नहीं होगा, एंड इफ इट इज देयर, तो देन इंडिया 16 विल डील विद इट एज पर ट्रीटमेंट। कैसे होगा? एज पर इंडिया 16। और रिवर्सल ऑफ इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस फॉर एन एसेट, नेक्स्ट पैरा, अदर देन गुडविल इज रिवर्सल ऑफ एन इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस। जब भी स्टूडेंट्स अब रिवर्सल हुआ इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस, वहां पे जो हमने क्वेश्चन किया उसमें रिवर्सल ऑफ इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस वाज देयर, 68,000 का रिवर्सल हुआ। सो रिवर्सल ऑफ इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस, अदर असेट्स, एंट्री आपकी स्टूडेंट्स क्या होगी? अदर असेट्स डेबिट टू रिवर्सल ऑफ इम्पेयरमेंट, टू अदर असेट्स डेबिट टू रिवर्सल ऑफ इम्पेयरमेंट, मीन्स reversal of impairment loss for an asset other than is recognized immediately in the statement of P&L। तो उसे आप स्टेटमेंट ऑफ P&L में क्रेडिट कर देंगे टू स्टेटमेंट ऑफ रिवर्सल ऑफ इम्पेयरमेंट, अदर असेट्स डेबिट टू रिवर्सल ऑफ इम्पेयरमेंट, और वो क्रेडिट आपका रिवर्सल ऑफ इम्पेयरमेंट डेबिट होकर टू स्टेटमेंट ऑफ P&L में जाएगा। ये जनरल एंट्रीज आपकी मैं साथ साथ बता रहा हूं। अनलेस द असेट इज कैरीड एट revalued amount in accordance with other Ind AS, ये अनलेस द सेट इज, बिकॉज अगर रिवर्सल रिवैल्यूड सेट शेल बी ट्रीटेड एज, अगर रिवैल्यूड सेट का रिवर्सल होता है तो इट शेल बी ट्रीटेड एज ए रिवोल्यूशन इंक्रीज इन अकॉर्डेंस विद अदर दैट अदर इंडेस। तो इसका स्टूडेंट्स मैं आपको बता देता हूं, इसका पूरा ट्रीटमेंट जो है, रिवैल्यूड असेट होगी तो क्या होगा, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है स्टूडेंट्स ये। अगर स्टूडेंट्स असेट में, तो इन नट शेल मैं आपको बता रहा हूं, अगर तो रिवैल्यूएशन नहीं हुआ, विदाउट रिवैल्यूएशन ऑन रिवर्सल द इंक्रीज कैरिंग अमाउंट, I will take break for 2 minutes and then I will continue. I will just have just water. Yes, students. Asset without revaluation. On reversal, the increased carrying amount of an asset other than goodwill due to reversal of an impairment loss पहली बात तो स्टूडेंट्स मैंने आपको ये बताई थी, शेल नॉट एक्सीड द कैरिंग अमाउंट, ये तो आपको बात क्लियर होगी। और रिवर्सल जो है इज रिकॉग्नाइज्ड इन इमीडिएटली इन द स्टेटमेंट ऑफ पी एंड एल, ये है विदाउट रिवैल्यूएशन। और अगर एक्सेस होगा तो इट शैल बी ट्रीटेड एज पर इंडिया 16, ये अगर एनी इंक्रीज इन एक्सेस, तो दिस इज अबाउट asset without revaluation. Now what will happen in case asset with revaluation in earlier years? In that case, students, reversal of an impairment loss on a revalued asset is recognized in OCIE, is recognized in other comprehensive income, ये ध्यान रखना है आपको, and increases the revaluation surplus for that asset. So impairment loss, students, reversal of an impairment loss on a revalued asset is recognized in OCI, क्योंकि स्टूडेंट्स बिकॉज ऑलरेडी एसेट आपका क्या रिवैल्यूड है, ऑलरेडी एसेट में रिवैल्यूशन हो चुका है, तो रिवैल्यूशन सरप्लस आपका होगा वहां पे। अगर आपका एसेट रिवैल्यूड था तो हो सकता है उसमें रिवैल्यूशन सरप्लस हो, और रिवैल्यूड एसेट में रिवैल्यूशन सरप्लस होगा तो रिवर्सल ऑफ एन इंपेयरमेंट लॉस, अब इंपेयरमेंट लॉस उधर से आपका रिवर्स हो गया तो इज रिकॉग्नाइज्ड, उसको मैं अदर कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इनकम ट्रीट करूंगा एंड इट विल इंक्रीज द रिवोल्यूशन सरप्लस फॉर दैट, और रिवोल्यूशन सरप्लस आपका इंक्रीज हो जाएगा। लेकिन लेकिन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, टू द एक्सटेंट दैट एन इंपेयरमेंट लॉस ऑन द सेम रिवैल्यूड असेट was previously recognized in P&L, or a reversal of that impairment loss is also recognized in profit or loss. To the extent that an impairment loss on the same revalued asset was previously recognized in profit or loss, reversal of that impairment loss is also recognized in P&L. अब स्टूडेंट्स, अगर वो रिवैल्यूड असेट का जो हमने रिवैल्यूशन किया था असेट का, अगर रिवैल्यूएशन में लॉस हो गया था, यहां पे हम ये कहना चाह रहे हैं स्टूडेंट्स, अगर टू द एक्सटेंट दैट एन इंपेयरमेंट लॉस ऑन द सेम रिवैल्यूड, व्हेन यू रिवैल्यूड द असेट तो रिवैल्यूशन डाउनवर्ड हुआ था, रिवैल्यूशन यहां पे हम डाउनवर्ड रिवैल्यूशन की बात कर रहे हैं। अगर रिवैल्यूशन डाउनवर्ड हुआ था उसका, तो ऑब्वियसली वो पी एंड एल में आपने डेबिट कर दिया होगा, पी एंड एल में डेबिट कर दिया, स्टेटमेंट ऑफ पी एंड एल में चला गया होगा। तो अब अगर रिवर्सल हो गया है असेट का, उसका रिवर्सल अगर होता है तो पहले हम पी एंड एल का डेबिट बैलेंस खत्म करते हैं। रिवर्सल ऑफ इंपेयरमेंट लॉस इज आल्सो रिकॉग्नाइज्ड इन द, तो फिर उसको पहले मैं पी एंड एल वाला जितना मैंने पहले लॉस दिखाया था उसको पहले कवर अप करूंगा, और फिर उसको कवर अप करके अगर कुछ बचता है तो फिर मेरा रिवॉल्यूशन सरप्लस जाएगा। तो ये ट्रीटमेंट होगा, यही बात लिखी हुई है। निशा मैडम आगे दिखाना, ये सेम बात लिखी हुई है। यस, तो ये सारी बात लिखी हुई है। और जो रिवाइज्ड आपका अमाउंट आता है आफ्टर एवरीथिंग, आफ्टर रिवर्सल, द डेप्रिसिएशन जो है आपका amortization charge for the set is adjusted in future periods on a systematic basis over its remaining life, remaining life पे आप उसे वो करते हैं। इंडिकेशंस ऑफ रिवर्सल ऑफ इंपेयरमेंट लॉस, इंडिकेटर्स ऑफ, जो अगर आपने स्टूडेंट्स इफ यू हैव अंडरस्टूड द इंडिकेटर्स ऑफ इंपेयरमेंट लॉस, तो उसकी एग्जैक्ट रिवर्स बात लिखी हुई है, वो रिवर्सल ऑफ इंपेयरमेंट लॉस उसका एग्जैक्ट उल्टा होता है। तो ये थ्योरेटिकल क्वेश्चन है, एक बार आप इसे रीड आउट कर लेना, बिकॉज इसमें काउंटिंग इन्वॉल्व नहीं है, और जो पार्ट वन था उसमें काउंटिंग इन्वॉल्व है। तो ये आप एक बार रीड आउट, घर पे आपको मैं होमवर्क दे रहा हूं, ये आप एक बार कर लेना अच्छी तरह से। सेकंड, इंडिकेशन ऑफ रिवर्सल ऑफ, बड़ी आसान बातें लिखी हुई हैं। इंडिकेशंस ऑफ, इंडिकेटर्स ऑफ इंपेयरमेंट अगर आप देखोगे, इंडिकेटर्स ऑफ इंपेयरमेंट लॉस, तो उसके एग्जैक्टली उल्टा है ये। गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसी पहले बदल गई थी, गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसी, लाइसेंस कैंसिल कर दिया, फिर गवर्नमेंट ने लाइसेंस रिवाइव कर दिया था तो हमने रिवर्सल कर दिया था। तो इस तरह की बातें, इकोनॉमिक एनवायरनमेंट चेंज होता है, लीगल एनवायरनमेंट बदल जाता है, टेक्नोलॉजिकल चेंजेस, तो ये सारी बातें हैं इसमें लिखी। ये स्टूडेंट्स, तो इंड एस 36 की कुछ बातें आज हमने इस केस स्टडी के थ्रू समझी, और अ, जो आपकी कुछ क्वेरीज डाउट्स हैं तो वो मैं फोन नंबर हमेशा शेयर करता हूँ अपना स्टूडेंट्स। निशा मैडम,
Yes, sir.
मेरा फोन नंबर एक बार स्टूडेंट्स को दे देना। 94
Yes, sir. Just a minute, sir.
नाइन
Nine
फोर
four
डबल सिक्स सेवन
double six seven
89298
eight nine. Sir, 89
298।
298.
ये स्टूडेंट्स, तो अभी हम कंक्लूड कर रहे हैं स्टूडेंट्स लेक्चर को, बिकॉज काफी टाइम हमने डिवोट किया है इंडिया स्टैटिस्टिक्स पे। निशा मैडम ने लॉ पे काफी अच्छा पढ़ाया, वो काफी टाइम डिवोट किया, और उधर से हमने इनकम टैक्स किया, जीएसटी किया। तो दिस इज हाउ यू आर बेसिकली रिवाइजिंग द कंसेप्ट्स यू हैव गेन्ड इन द अदर सब्जेक्ट्स। तो आपका रिवीजन हो रहा है यहाँ पे। जो आपने दूसरे सब्जेक्ट्स कोर पेपर्स में आपने स्टडी की है स्टूडेंट्स, उसका सबका यहाँ पे कंसेप्ट्स का रिवीजन है। और अगर आप, इफ यू आर क्लियर विद द कंसेप्ट्स, मैं बार बार एक ही बात बोलता हूँ, इफ यू आर क्लियर विद द कंसेप्ट्स, तो आपको ये पेपर मुश्किल लगेगा ही नहीं, बिल्कुल आसान लगने वाला है आपको पेपर। क्यों निशा मैडम?
Yes, sir, absolutely. And the sir, the way you have explained to the students, that was a wonderful in itself. And I suppose the students has really got the clarity on this Ind AS. And as well, I hope and suppose that students are also clear with the other issues related to the whatever has been covered in today's case study. And it was a wonderful that students were also so active that way. So that was a great. Thank you to the students also that way.
एक क्वेश्चन निशा मैडम है, नम्रता पूछ रही है, इन एग्जाम वी हैव टू राइट एज यू सॉल्व इन प्रैक्टिकल मैनर, और हैव टू, देखो स्टूडेंट्स ऐसा है क्योंकि बिकॉज क्वेश्चन थ्योरेटिकल पूछा गया था तो आपको थ्योरी आंसर लिखना चाहिए लाइक दिस। हाँ, अगर प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चन आएगा एप्लीकेशन बेस्ड जैसे जो कि मैंने समझाया, तो आप फिर प्रैक्टिकली वहां पे करके दिखाना। तो यही, देयर इज नो स्टैंडर्ड दिस थिंग। आप जैसे क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है उसी मैनर में उसे आंसर करिए। आई होप आई एम क्लियर विद दिस स्टूडेंट्स। तो विद दीज वर्ड स्टूडेंट्स, यस निशा मैडम, आप स्टूडेंट्स को कुछ
नहीं सर,
होमवर्क
बस यही कहूंगी
कुछ
बच्चों से कि
होमवर्क देना चाहोगे स्टूडेंट्स को?
yes, definitely. The only my request from student is yes, just focus on whatever we are just guiding you, because guidance is the great thing. Without guru, without teacher, sometimes you're not being directed to the right direction, and this is what we are here for. Just to provide and take you, just hold your hand to take you towards whatever you're looking forward for. So that was wonderful, sir, and it was a great learning for me. Besides with the students also that way. And thank you, students. Thank you, Namrita. Thank you, Shankara. Thank you, Yodu Kondalu. And Abdul Rahim. Yes, it was a wonderful Mujib. Thank you. Thank you to all, sir, that way. And yes, wish you all the best for your bright futures and for further, whatever the next time we're going to take it the class that way. Come up with beforehand the preparation so that this class may really be a worth and it be become a very interactive for all of you.
थैंक यू निशा मैडम, आपका मैं बहुत बहुत थैंक्स करता हूं जो आपने स्टूडेंट्स को इतना अच्छा लॉ पढ़ाया है। और
Thank you to you, sir.
थैंक यू निशा मैडम, थैंक यू वेरी मच, एंड थैंक्स टू ऑल दो स्टूडेंट्स हु वर देयर। और स्टूडेंट्स, मैं आपको यही आईबीएस में यही गाइड करूंगा कि आप जो कोर पेपर्स हैं उनकी अच्छी लर्निंग करिए, कंसेप्चुअली क्लियर होइए, तो ये पेपर में आपको बिल्कुल भी मुश्किल आने वाली नहीं है। और स्टूडेंट्स, मैंने आपको जो नंबर दिया अपना, इनफैक्ट वाइल द क्लास इज ओवर, तो कई बार स्टूडेंट्स को होता है कि हम सर से अपने डाउट्स पूछ लें, और लेकिन क्लास ओवर हो चुकी होती है, स्टूडेंट्स रिकॉर्डेड सेशन देख रहे होते हैं। तो स्टूडेंट्स, इसलिए मैंने आपको अपना नंबर भी शेयर कर दिया, तो आप मुझे कॉल कभी भी कर सकते हैं। इवन इफ आई एम इन मीटिंग समटाइम्स, या कोई और एंगेजमेंट्स है मेरी, तो आपको मैं कॉल बैक कर लेता हूँ उस केस में। So students, with this session comes to an end. Thank you, Nisha madam. Thank you all students.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you.